Welcome to Adrift in Aldhalor, our weekly actual play D&D show set in our homebrew world of Aradun. Our music is licensed through Musicbed.com, and we occasionally use Syrinscape or TabletopAudio for Ambience every now and then. Shannon is sick tonight, unfortunately, so I'll be subbing Stefan in for our usual announcements and partners. So I'm going to turn it over to him now. Say hello, everyone. You're all on screen.
Hello,
How
everyone.
did you do this? I'm not ready.
No, he's just really good at standing still.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for joining us here in Paradice Production. For our first friends on the internet, we've got Arcane Spectacles. Arcane Spectacles. Fuel your adventures with Arcane Spectacles. Adventure mugs. Yeah, that's right. I'm talking about their adventure mugs, one of which is themed after everyone's favorite cleric, Septimus. Just kidding, it's Huron. Their adventure mugs available in 11 ounce and 15 ounce sizes. They are sturdy. It's true. Mine hasn't broken yet, and I've dropped it a few times. Ceramic mugs, complete with high quality printing, and they are perfect for TTRPG and D&D enthusiasts. Start your day with a jolt of excitement, assuming that you're drinking electricity, and choose your size for the ultimate gaming experience. Get yours now at arcanespectacles.com. Next, we've got Underground Oracle Publishing. They are a best-selling NE nominated. That's NE. I don't know what that stands for, but it sounds impressive. Nominated TTRPG publisher, building new and exciting settings for the Cypher system of every genre you can imagine. Each setting includes everything you need to explore its unique world, including lore, species, descriptors, foci, creatures, ciphers, artifacts, and all of the rules that you need to play. For as little as $3, you can join their Patreon and help shape each of the worlds that they create. Next up, we've got Eddie Yorke. He is our character artist, and he's great. He is an illustrator based in the UK who makes art for games and books. To visit his portfolio and get in contact with him, visit eYorke. That's eYorke, EYORKE.com. Finally, we've got 1985 Games. They create affordable, accessible, high-quality accessories for D&D and other tabletop role-playing games. Sean uses their NPC cards, specifically NPC Booster number 1. And do you have number 2?
I do.
He's got them both. The NPC Booster features 18 pre-generated, beautifully illustrated characters for D&D, Pathfinder, writing, and other storytelling adventures. Each RPG character card has just enough traits to leave each NPC customizable. Focus on storytelling and gameplay rather than spending hours on manual character development. Explore the endless possibilities of customizable generated NPC cards for your tabletop game. And then we've got miscellaneous recaps and VODs on Discord. Not today's, but that's okay. Sean will get it up eventually. And our VODs are on Discord, but they lead you to YouTube.
Yes.
And I believe those are fairly up to date.
Yep, the last week still needs to be uploaded because I have to manually upload it for some reason. I don't remember why.
Oh, because you glitched out like twice.
I lost connection because my internet has been rebelling. But yes, that'll be up soon, and tonight's will be up soon as well.
Yeah, but you can always find them at our Discords once they go up, so join us there. You can also join us on Bluesky, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, Discord, Instagram, and TikTok. So yeah, find us there, and otherwise we're here every night at 6:30, give or take a few minutes, Eastern Time.
Yeah, I got there with the link.
You did.
All right.
But now I think it's time that we play some. Some
Dinda.
Tabletop shenanigans.
Tabletop shenanigans is right.
I need a recap, though. I forgot everything.
Well, it's a good thing that my recap is slightly based off of your notes, Fionn.
Awesome. You start from the beginning.
So, last we left off in for Adrift in Aldhalor. Iron and Mana had arrived back in Hyven to plan a lovely birthday party Jaquet Touchard, which he demanded as many people in the city be invited, and he sent some personal invitations to some VIPs. We see the party prepare for this the day before, many of them going out to seek out gifts for Jaquet, including things like a fine whiskey, a dire mink pelt, a coin on a string for pranks, a beautiful hat, and many other things. But amongst that preparations, we saw a few other things. One, Theon began to experience one of the dreams associated with his cursed mask, but was able to overcome it with his will and not fall prey to the possession that the mask tends to do. Sass had a conversation with her patron, or more of a moment with her patron. They didn't say too much. But it was implied heavily that the patron was almost in a weird way happy to see her. But preparations had to be made with Orin, the proprietor, not owner, but proprietor of the Harlequin and Chalice Tavern, including things like arranging food, music, decorations, and whatnot. There was some miscommunications that might end up on the tab at the end of the night for Jaquet, but nonetheless, a great party was planned. And of course, eventually people started to gather around. Our party had a little moment to share their gifts with Jaquet before the party began, in which he was truly touched and in a rare moment seemed actually genuine in his appreciation for these gifts. But nevertheless, the party must begin. And so it did. And slowly but surely, different VIPs streamed in amongst other civilians of Hyven who have heard about Iron and Mana's exploits or who have personal involvements with the party. For example, just to list a few, there were the lovely boat workers who helped rescue Fionn, Jaquet, and Sass when they were stranded at sea. And one of them, Arthax, the young dragonborn, actually gifted Jaquet some rather potent moonshine of the apple cinnamon flavor. But we had other distinguished guests, such as Emile Ducant, the representative of the governor here in Hyven, as well as folks like the several deans of the college, the Hyven Academy, I believe all of them actually showed up, other than the outgoing dean of the arts. But it started to look like a real party. And by this point, Jaquet decided it was time to start it officially with his own performance. He brought forth his typical grandeur of discussing the exploits of Iron and Mana and talking about the different threats in Hyven that they have kept the city safe from. But amidst this epic tale, a mysterious figure appeared in the audience. But thanks to the watchful eye of Septimus and Jaquet's hired man, Reardon, they caught him and prevented an assassination attempt upon Jaquet Touchard, which Jaquet thankfully had a little bit of a clue would happen due to him visiting his friends, the De Leon brothers, earlier in the night as his alter ego, LaRue. De Leons are not very happy with Jaquet Touchard, no matter how happy they are with LaRue. But anyway, after the assassination attempt was thwarted, Fionn brought the assassin upstairs to lock away after maybe beating him up a little bit. And then the party continued, and Jaquet tried to spin it off as this is exactly why Iron and Mana is here, to protect this fair city from people like that. But as the night went on, other performers came on. Jaquet took his seat in the VIP section where a queue of gift givers showed up. And as he was receiving these gifts and gabbing with the various people, an unexpected visitor showed up. A certain individual by the name of Ahmed Dubois, a representative from his brother's trading company, the Domu Gosu Trading Company, with some bad news for Jaquet. His vacation's over. They're here to take him home after they finish trade negotiations with the Commodore, and that he should be ready to be dragged back to Gwenvalier no matter what in 5 days' time. This, of course, upset Jaquet, and he decided to throw what one could call a tantrum as he began to chug apple cinnamon moonshine and pour it all over himself as he mocked Ahmed and said that he would make this very difficult for him. Before Ahmed scolded him one last time and left with his Minotaur guard, who Fearn sized up in that moment, playing bouncer. Overall, it was quite the first half of the party. And where we left off is right after this moment. The guests are all looking at Jaquet a bit confused at his behavior. The rest of you would have seen all of this happen. Fear and you would have been pretty up close as well as this all happened. Sass is off right now talking to some other guests, particularly some of the folks from the academy, and trying to get people to dance again and get the music back going after this awkward encounter. So, Iron and Mana, what would you like to do now as the party starts to slowly get back to festivities?
We saw Jaquet have that conversation. Did we overhear what the details were?
I imagine, Fear definitely did. But at that moment, where would the two of you have been at this moment? Bruce and Septimus.
I probably would have went back to my post on at the bottom of the staircase.
Okay.
Yeah, and Bruce would probably be in that booth where Sigil is.
Yeah, I will say Sigil did get up from the booth to get into the queue because he has a gift for Jaquet as well. So you can stay in the booth if you like.
Bruce is, probably just gonna be like, I'll ask Jaquet about that later. And Bruce is probably gonna go outside though.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All
I'm
right.
gonna message you what I'm gonna do.
Okay, no problem. So for Bruce, you definitely didn't hear what they talked about. All you know is it got really quiet over there, and then Jaquet started to laugh really hysterically at one point. Well, you didn't really necessarily. He's in the opposite booth from you in this. Septimus, you would have heard a little bit more than Bruce. You would have heard there was a bit of a tough words exchanged between them. And you would have seen the guy walk out and fear and kind of confront his bodyguard. So you wouldn't have heard perfectly clear, Septimus, but you would know that this person definitely pissed Jaquet off or some kind of exchange happened that was less than friendly.
Sean, I would also like to say that, or I would like to put Lollyrock in the corner, or have had Bruce put Lollyrock in the corner of a room, kind of like a camera.
Yeah.
Up top. Just like
totally.
Every so often, Bruce is like, boop,
boop, as Lollyrock just scans across. Lollyrock.
That's all. He said his name, yeah.
He's a Pokemon.
Chirp, chirp.
Yeah. Now he's got two things he says.
No, yeah, you could definitely do that and be able to check back in when you need to see how things are going.
Yeah, before the gift train keeps rolling, Fearn would probably just lean into Jaquet and be like, "You all right?"
A good bard knows how to recover. He kind of sits himself back up, puts down the ceramic vase or vessel jug of moonshine, kind of wipes his mouth as he goes, "Yes, thank you. I will be okay. I would very much just like to forget that ever happened and move on."
That's the spirit. I slap him on the back and I say, "Save the troubles for tomorrow."
Yes.
Let's have a good time. Next.
Septimus, would you stay at your post by the stairs or would you go check things out?
I would stay there.
Okay.
I would though, just out of curiosity, where does that Tabaxi and his bodyguard go? Do they remain at the party? Do they leave?
So they you see they start to leave. And then you might even surmise, Jaquet, you wouldn't be able to see this due to the crowd, But they stop by the raw bar and the food. And as much as Ahmed is here on business, he is still of the upper class of Domuzerum and can recognize good food and good drink. So they seem to linger for a little bit. And you notice, though, without a perception check, Septimus, you just notice they might be doing a little bit of reconnaissance while they're doing it. They do seem to be kind of eyeing everyone, sizing up the guests of this birthday party to see kind of what the truth is about Jaquet. They heard rumors. They got here and they confirmed at least that he was in the city. And now they're like, is he right? Is he right? Because Jaquet did say to them in the last session, oh, you're trying to talk to the Commodore? You frickin' need me. So they are maybe doing a little bit of scoping out of the entire room now. So you can see Ahmed is like, he's got like a little plate with a little bit of finger food that he he'll taste, and then he'll be like, ugh, ugh. This is, even if the food is really good, he's still making faces because this is not up to the respect of a Domu Gosu trading company official. His guard, though, is standing very vigilant. And you can see now, and Fear, and you would have noticed this as well. The guard is like very well armored, but like it's subtle. Like it's almost like the armor is fine clothing is woven into the armor to make it look like it has a little bit of style to it, as opposed to it just being sort of heavy plate armor that is covered in dents and whatnot. Which for someone like Fear, you might look at it and say, this guy's never been in a fight. Look how clean that armor is.
How do you even clean that thing? It's lame.
Yeah. But
you fall in the mud once, and it's ruined forever. You got to go a whole new set.
But at the same time, Jaquet, you do know the wealth of the Domogosu Trading Company would afford to replace the armor of their highest guardsmen if they get into a scuffle. Must keep up airs. But they are lingering, but it doesn't look to you all like they're gonna stay very long. They're really just doing a little bit of a look-see. In fact, it would be kind of once the queue starts to reline up that they do seem to be heading towards the door at this point. So they really only stayed for a couple more minutes.
I'll say for me, at least regardless of what they were doing, I'll just stay where I am and save it for later. As long as they're not doing anything to go back and talk to Jaquet, or Jaquet and Fearin seem like it's been handled for now.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay, so yeah, absolutely. Bruce. Fearin and Jaquet, that's another thing to remind everyone, is that the room, it does have like a thick layer of like fireworks smoke up at the top still that's slowly dissipating every time someone opens the door and walks in and out.
I did open a window.
Okay,
I smashed a window.
That's true.
But guests start to reline up in the queue, and Jaquet, some of these people, you have no idea who they are. They're not even people who you've met. They're just coming and they're like, this guy's cool. And they're like offering you little tchotchkes, and like there's like an old woman from who's probably seen you at one of the taverns who gives you a quilt that she crocheted, saying things like, I haven't seen a bard come through these parts that has such charisma as you in ages.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I have a score of 18.
Oh, 18. I don't know what that means, but here is a lovely quilt I made for you.
That's the time seconds or whatever. I don't know. You said score like it's a score of music instead of a metagame thing. Whatever.
Well, thank you very much, madam. I'm sure it will be great for the coming long dark.
She goes in for a hug.
Okay, and I just like Jaquet goes to hug her back and is looking at Fearin like, what the fuck?
It's one of those awkward things where she like grandma pulls you in and kisses you on the cheek and then pats you on the head.
Fearin does nothing.
Yeah, it's like you're like this grandma's favorite like soap opera actor, essentially.
Oh. So
And-
she dreams about Jaquet late at night.
Yes. As she eventually is escorted away. But yeah, there's several people like this, but then I'll say the two VIPs of this who show up. First is Emile Ducant, who shows up. He's very well put together. He's wearing a very nicely made suit. That's sort of a dark navy blue theme across with some accent marks. Hair swept back. I mean, he's a big guy. Like when you first met him, you all thought he was more of like a grunt until you actually spoke to him, and found out that he was actually more of a respectable auditor. So he comes and he has this very nice looking wooden box, like highly polished. Has some gold filigree imbued into it. And he would sit across from you and just place it in front of him as he would just say, "Happy birthday, Jaquet Touchard and Iron and Mana. Good to see they're all in good spirits." As he looks back, you can see Sass just dancing like a mad woman back there. And he looks to you, Fearin, when he says that and gives you a quick nod.
Yo.
Bruce is for a man about real estate and building. He is quite the skill in pyrotechnics.
Indeed, he is. Sweet Bruce is many things. An architect, an inventor, an engineer, but most certainly he is very skilled in everything he attempts.
And Septimus, homegrown here in Asia, quite quick to stop the assailant.
Yep.
Well, I'm here on behalf of the governing body of both the Aldhalor Islands as well as Asia to wish you a happy birthday and to give you a gift from the Commodore herself. She says her apologies for not being able to make it. As well as the governor says his apologies as well, though it is far too short of notice to get him here, of course. But
of course, I would never expect the governor to drop everything to come to my birthday. But I'm sure the Commodore is very busy as well. He says, just like staring deadpan at Emile.
And Emile Emile is a pretty straight shooter.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's from the beginning of you guys getting to know him, he like earnestly was like, "Oh yes, I am actually interested when you've said things that interest him." So this makes this like somewhat of a not political move, but like politically charged comment. He gets very awkward as he's like, to be honest with you, Mr. Touchard, I don't really know much about the Commodore's schedule or what she does day to day. I'm strictly here on business from the governor about investment in the city and the region. But I know you and your friends have been quite cozy with the Commodore over the last few weeks.
I'd say that, yes.
She offered us a position, and we've been doing some work for her on the side, and it's been quite fruitful. She's in need of professionals such as ourselves.
Well, of course, there were hardly any in the city before I came here with the governor, or at least not those who were officially working within the law. there's a lot of reform coming to Asia, as you can imagine. And we, those of us working from the governor's position in the capital, are truly hoping that those of influence in the city can be allies to the governor. As agents of the Commodore, we were hoping that you would be interested in sharing in those services with the governor in case there are needs in the city. Of course, and he looks to you, Jaquet, very quickly. I don't mean to talk too much business on your celebratory day, but it's just something I rarely get time to come down here, and it's
Emil, please, no. It's no worries at all. We appreciate the invitation, and if you'd like, myself and the party can come by within the next week or so for a meeting to see what exactly it is we, Iron Mana, can do for Governor Saipajin.
And now that you, Emil, you might also be able to help us with something. I believe Septimus had some land.
Again, we can
issues.
talk about business later, Fjern.
I'm just saying that you might want to talk to him and, just express your, interest in working with us.
certainly. All I will say is that I will make time for Iron and Mana when you are ready to speak with me on affairs with the governor's office. Given your close proximity to the Commodore, we have a lot of interest in what you know.
Great.
And if a man named Med Dubois approaches you, just know that he's a charlatan and you shouldn't trust anything he says. Big tabaxi, lots of chains and gold. He was in here earlier, but...
Oh, that was Mr. Dubois. I have a meeting with him this
warning.
week.
Oh, well, you should probably just cancel it because it's not worth your time. He puts on a lot of airs.
From what I understand, he comes from a highly respected merchant organization.
Is what he tells you and is what he fabricates in the dark, but enough business, my friends.
Are you saying he's not a representative of the Domo Gosu Trading Company?
I'm saying that everything he says is not quite as it seems. But, Emil, it's been so wonderful seeing you. Thank you so much for the gift, which I'm sure is fantastic. You have yourself a fantastic evening, and thank you again, and we'll be in touch.
Of course,
you
of
were
course.
Opening all the gifts, or...
Jaquet flips open the lid of the box.
And you find a incredibly finely crafted, ornate dagger. That is, the metal is imbued with gold. So the whole thing looks like it's made of pure gold, though it has all of the sharpness of a regular dagger. With a very well-made hilt that has a ruby at the base of it, at the pommel. You look at it, and if you were to pick it up, you can tell that even though it's very ornate, you'd expect it to almost be a decorative dagger. You can tell it has quite a good feel to it, and that you could use this in combat, although you imagine that the Commodore is probably offering this more as a decorative gift, but you could use it. It is incredibly light, like impossibly light, to the point that it might be a pretty nice dagger for the purposes of not decorative reasons. Someone might say a +1 dagger.
Jaquet does like a few hand twirls with it, testing its weight, and he goes, "A beautiful dagger. Thank the governor for me, and thank you, Emil." And just to make it clear, Jaquet did not say to thank the Commodore. Just want to make sure that is made clear. Outside of the conversation.
Emil will look at you, and there is like a point when he's like, "It's from the Commodore." But okay. As he gets up and gives a little head nod, nods to you, Fjern, as he goes and rejoins the party. Yeah.
Come on, that was nice of her, wasn't it? You should
Yes,
give
the
her a little
governor was
break.
very nice to give me such a beautiful blade. Quite the generous man.
All right, whatever. I'm not here to argue.
Jaquet puts it back in its case and puts it to the side.
Next.
Okay.
Is what Jaquet says.
So as you are, as a few more of those, folks come by who just sort of give you little gifts that aren't worth too much to you, Jaquet, Sigil would eventually come up, and he has a hastily wrapped package that he sits down and just sort of like looks to you, Fearn, looks to you, Jaquet, and just says, "Good evening. Happiest of birthdays to you, Jaquet, and Finn. Good to see you as well. I was, of course, unfortunate not to see you for the latest mission, but I understand you had other pressing duties. But I came to give you my best and to share with you a gift."
I
Pushes
appreciate that, Sigil.
Mhm.
It's been a pleasure working with you, and if you don't mind me asking, did you happen to send someone else instead?
I did not. As you might recall, when I gave you this mission at first, I said that I would not be seeking other adventurers or sellswords.
I don't recall that, but that makes sense now.
I would only entrust this to a group that I trust, like yourselves.
Oh, stop. You're flattering us.
Unfortunately, somebody else had an interest. And I'm sure you saw in the alleyways, but they've tightened their security because there was a breach. I don't know who is involved in it, but someone. I don't know if they were successful either. I've received no information since the attack. But if I hear word, or if there's another opportunity of similar value, I'll let you know. Of course, as always, there are other tasks available to you from the university. I have asked around to see if there's anything of import. So feel free to stop by if you have interest. Or if just you're simply looking to do more research.
I'm sure there's always questions that Fionn, Septimus, and Bruce are looking to answer. We'll be by in due time.
Of course. He kind of awkwardly claps his hands and opens them back up and says, "Well, enjoy your festivities. I'm not one for parties, so I'll probably be leaving soon."
That's all right. It was good to see you. Thanks for the gift.
And he does get up to leave, and he looks back at you, Jaquet. And he does for a moment linger on you, Fionn, as you say that, as he gives you a nod and says, "Always polite, Fionn." And then looks back to Jaquet and says, "The gift is to help you when you need to see things more clearly." And he leaves.
Did he leave a gift?
Yeah, I said he had a poorly
okay.
wrapped bag in front of him.
Right.
Slides over to you.
So as he leaves, Jaquet just kind of raises a hand and goes, "Thanks, Sigil. We'll see you soon." As he looks down at the bag and carefully unfolds it to see what's in there, or unwraps.
Yep, it is 4 potions. And they are labeled. One of them is a potion of clairvoyance. One of them is a potion of scrying. And then there is one that is a potion of true sight.
Oh. Oh.
And then the last one is a I'm forgetting the name.
Invisibility.
It isn't, but I'm forgetting
Potions.
the name of the potion, but it's the potion that gives you a reroll. It's the like potion of possibility, I think is what it's
Oh,
called.
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Dang. I was gonna say it's a potion of sobriety.
That would be useful in this month. As
Potion
the
of foresight.
no, not foresight. It's not foresight.
The 8-hour version.
No, it is not the 8-hour version. I could actually probably find it real quick. But that is the last sort of VIP gift.
Right.
Mhm. It would probably stick around just for security's sake, you know, like wait through all of the people. But I think at some point he would get like impatient, as Jaquet would too, and starts rushing people along, like, you know, thank you, you're welcome, get out.
Oh yeah,
And,
yeah,
like,
yeah. Like there's also the kind of thing where like the gift queue is not open to everyone. Some of those stragglers I mentioned kind of snuck into it. It was meant to be just for the VIPs anyway. But people saw a line and they were like, I'm gonna see if I can get Jaquet to take my quilt.
Does Sigil leave at that point?
He would awkwardly kind of return to sit in the booth that Bruce was in before. He doesn't seem to be leaving right away. He seems to be staying for a little bit longer. At this point, it's been a little while into the party. We're probably in, you know, a little past 9 p.m. at this point. As people are kind of entering the phase of the party where they're just, you know, they've eaten a ton of food and now they're just drinking and dancing and enjoying themselves. Like I said last week, there is a corner of the bar that has started to become dedicated exclusively to gambling, where people are throwing dice, playing cards. Some people are just betting on actions. It's basically just turning into like a dare system of like I bet you can't do this, I guess you can't do that. A few arm wrestling contests have started amongst some of the people who are more like Fearns fans from Fight Night. There's definitely like a corner that's just become the rascal corner. It's like the degenerate corner where anyone who's coming from the Widow's Ward is basically hanging out in. And then you've got your academic area that's cordoned off as a VIP. And then you have just sort of like the general Hyven population taking up the rest of the space. Like there's like people that you all have never seen together hanging out because you've only ever really encountered them in their respective businesses. Like you can see you actually may have missed that he arrived, but he arrived quite late. You actually see Docker the bookie is here, and he is like smiling wide and rubbing shoulders. You see like this weird trio of people at a table right now where it's Kana and Docker, who seem to be like just like fighting. Actually, they're just like fighting over like whose tavern is better. It sounds like, even though Docker doesn't own the tavern. And then you can see like lingering around them is actually Cass Alafina, the editor-in-chief of the Hyven Times, who's just sort of like, every time Kana says anything about you all, she's like sort of like immediately jumps in and be like, and what do you think about that? They caused some serious destruction to your property. Are you still in favor of iron and mana and their position in town? Like the Cass and Papis are absolutely working. Like they're both carrying like a drink that they're not drinking at all, that the ice is all melted into. People are also chipping off pieces of the Jaquet ice sculpture into their drinks now. But you can see, while they're working, Kellen just seems to be watching the room. He's not interacting with anyone. He doesn't even have a notebook out. He doesn't even have a drink in his hands. He is just wandering around, looking through the different guests, very similar to how Ahmed was kind of just sizing people up. Kellen seems to be doing the same thing.
I buy Michael Udon a drink and I say, Hey, buddy, that guy over there, his name is Kellen. This was from him. He also loves noodles. You should probably go and talk to him about them.
Oh, oh my gosh! Thank you, Fearn. Fearn, right? You were part of the adventure group.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, you guys are the best thing that happened to this town. I have to say, everything's turning up. Yeah, I have to go say thank you. What do you know what he likes? I'll get something for him.
I'm not sure. You're gonna have to ask him yourself.
Okay. Well. All right. Sounds good.
And you watch as Michael Udon goes over to talk to Kellen, and Kellen just gives him this glare as Michael Udon tries to talk to him and thank him for the drink. And you can see Kellen. Yeah, Kellen's been, he hasn't ever been shown himself as being necessarily like a bad guy. He's just been short with people. As he just sort of like is trying to wave Michael Udon off, but Michael Udon is insistent that he buy this man a drink, even though Kellen clarifies with him several times, I did not purchase this drink for you. But of course, again, you're seeing several strange groups of folks. Like you're seeing Torcal is there, and he's talking with Lucas Pascal, who is like just at this strange table of just sort of like it's got Lucas, it's got Torcal. Reardon has joined them. It's kind of turning into the table of your like the people you've hired. But yeah, the professors are getting pretty rowdy, probably rowdier than most people, as they do. But yeah, what would you all like to do at this point?
Is a meal? I imagine Bruce would come back in eventually.
Yes, yes.
Is Meal still like lingering around? Getting some
Yep.
chips, nachos.
He's basically just has like a little plate of appetizers that he's just finishing off before leaving.
His nice little egg roll with
He's
nice little sauce on it.
Yeah, he's got a nice little
Or like-
little spring roll action, some bacon wrapped scallops, some little bit of fruit, a little sweet with the savory.
No cheese, really?
No cheese. Yeah.
Oh,
I've
wow.
decided in this moment
I
that
took
Emil
a meal
is
for,
he's lactose intolerant and he doesn't have his pills tonight. He doesn't have his anti-dairy potion to take.
Yeah. Daily.
But no, he is still here.
I would approach him.
Mm-hmm. And as he has a mouthful of spring roll, he looks at you and goes, Bruce.
Emil,
Excuse me.
How you doing?
I'm good. I just shortly ago I just spoke with Jaquet, and gave him a gift and talked to him a bit about business.
Oh, so you're here on business, not
A little bit of both. I've completed the business portion. Now I'm having a bit to eat before heading out for the night.
How does that work? Do you get paid by the hour?
No. I am paid bi-weekly.
Oh,
I'm not paid tonight. I was just delivering something tonight.
But
This is
you're
mostly.
but you're on the clock. You're doing something for the Commodore.
Yes, it's somewhat of a volunteer situation. Discussion went around to the Commodore's office about who was going to come tonight. And don't tell Jaquet this, but I may or may not have drawn a shorter straw.
Oh,
But I will say this has been a phenomenal evening. Like I was not unhappy to have drawn the straw, but I would be lying if I didn't say I volunteered myself immediately.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I think Oren put a great party on.
No, it's tremendous, and I'll be honest with you. We all thought this was going to be a not as well put together. Such short notice. We assumed we would show up there. I was not expecting this many people, nor this much festivities. I'm truthfully very impressed.
we haven't received the bill yet, or at least I haven't heard of the bill. So I'm curious of
Oh,
what it's actually going to cost.
yes. Well, something you should
Jaquet's
always
got-
negotiate before the event.
Yeah, Jaquet's got deep pockets, so I'm sure it'd be fine.
Well, there's
Anyway,
always work with the governor's office in case you need to make up for the cost of this extravagant party.
Speaking of, have you, as far as real estate goes, have you looked into Koboko as an option for revitalizing any housing in the area?
Well, we have considered it. We don't have many. And of course, we have our own contacts, but they're all in Solonel at this point. As far as the governor's interest in investing, there's not really a building company in Hyven. People seem to just sort of build their own structures, add on with no real rhyme or reason. Hence why I believe the lighthouse collapsed in the first place. I don't think it was properly, soundly constructed. I mean, I know the stories say the storms were quite bad last year, but I don't know. We didn't get hit that hard in Solonel.
I took a look at it. It's you're correct. It was not built well.
But
There are children living in it. I mean,
children.
oh, birds. Sorry, I don't know. Isn't that what the baby birds are called? Children?
I don't think that's right, Bruce. I think they're called chicks.
Oh, thank you for the correction. Oh no.
What are the boys called then?
Anyway, yes, we have looked into it. I know the governor has. The governor is interested because he understands your main competitors are associated with the eminent houses, and as much as the governor has made many deals with Halcyon, he would prefer an unpolitical contract for these constructions. So I will say we'll certainly be talking soon.
All right, you got my business card.
That I do. That I do. Well, I look forward to hearing from all of Iron and Mana in the next week or so.
Yeah, and you should in regards to Septimus's home as well.
Oh yes, Fearn had mentioned something about that. No need to disclose tonight. We'll be happy to meet about it later.
Right.
I do know. I have looked into you all the best I can, and I do know that Septimus is a transplant refugee from Halcyon, or at least his parents were. He was born here. So I do understand probably what this is about. So I'd say don't worry too much. From my perspective, at least, I can't speak for the governor.
All right. Well, if you could put in the good word from anybody who might be of influence, that would be greatly appreciated.
Of course, Bruce. And he goes to shake your hand.
And Bruce misses putting his hand out.
And he very politely grabs your hand where it is, meets your hand.
Bruce, under his breath, thank you.
As he awkwardly just places his little plate of unfinished hors d'oeuvres on a table, wipes his hands and kind of like looks around and is like, "Good evening, Bruce," and walks out the front door.
Nice. When you get a chance, Fearn would like to try and find Odwin.
Oh yeah, Odwin is over in the corner with the rascals.
Yeah, I was kind of curious about that because I knew that you said that the rat was gambling. Is that like all the same area?
Yeah. They kind of cordoned off the corner and set it up as this is where the gambling tables are, unofficially. So she's not really playing cards or dice or anything. She doesn't seem like that's her game. She's more so hanging around those who are partaking in arm wrestling contests.
As I'm working my way over to her, through like the rowdy crowd, because I'm sure there's like some people who like want to cheers and like mess around. I slowly make my way through the crowd saying hi to people that I recognize. I want to swing by the table that has the rat. What's his actual name? I know I have it in my notes somewhere.
Frick. Or
Finch.
Frink?
It's Finch.
That's it. It's a ratty little name for a ratty little man.
Well,
It is a pretty ratty
bird.
name.
But yeah, I'm gonna actually like front a round of cards for Finch. Like I'm gonna see what the ante is and like basically like put down like a couple of silver, you know, and just I just put a hand on his shoulder and I say, no hard feelings about the ring, it's just showmanship. Enjoy yourself tonight. And like I don't even stop to like get his response. That's just like a quick whatever.
Yeah.
He could say like one thing before I walk off, basically.
Yeah, he's actually a little like at first he when you first walk up, he's uncertain if you're gonna cause trouble or not. Mainly because they just don't really like everyone. You can surmise like people know you, of course. You're famous for being quite skilled in the fighting pits. But some people are you disappear so frequently on your quests that people are like unsure like how you actually feel about the fight night sometimes, and they think that you might like end your opponents. But as soon as you do that, there is like a show of relief on his face, a big grin, and he doesn't even get a chance to say anything before you've walked off. But he gives you a nod.
So giving him like a quick like look down as like I'm like handing him the money. Is he wearing anything like identical to the shit? What is it? The boots and the scarf from
The Alumno Defiance.
Alumno Defiance, yes.
So Finch does always have some sort of regalia showing some levels of loyalty to that. Usually it has to do with either the scarves they wear or he has like a band on his arm that is of the same color. But he's never really demonstrated loyalty to it. He's never like made it a case that he's an Alumno Defiance supporter loudly amongst people. I think you might be confusing him with
the other drunk.
Yeah, the other drunk who I actually have.
Fighter, the one that noticed Fearns. I'm trying to look for the guy's name too.
I know I have it
didn't
on
wanna
this list.
say, like, no, that's wrong until I
Where
had
is
something.
he?
To...
I don't even think he was a fighter. I think he was just some.
No, he
drunk
was a fighter because I
Yeah,
remember he lost.
Oh yeah, he lost to Finch. Right?
Yeah, I have it here somewhere. Because I was like, this. I didn't think Finch was a Alumno Defiance. Where
I
is
might
he?
have gotten it mixed up.
Brandon Redcap.
Yeah, Brandon.
Okay.
Brandon Redcap. Yeah.
Who knows what
so,
happened to that guy?
He is on the guest list.
Everyone's on the guest list, Sean.
But no, you don't see anything on Finch that indicates he has any allegiance to the Alumno Defiance.
Okay, then no worries. I keep looking for Oddwin.
Yeah, you could easily be able to find her. She's not competing, but she's sort of like amongst the group arm wrestling, and she's Goliath, so she's super tall, so she just has like one like leg on the table as if it is a stool, as she's just sort of leaning next to this guy who is in the midst of the arm wrestle, and you just see her like, come on, you fucking bastard, you can't do it, keep going, as he eventually wins, and she cheers as she snatches some money away from a person on the other side of the table.
I cheer along with her, pretending I know what's going on. And then I like lean over and I say, well, I hope you're having fun at the party. It looks like you're having fun at the party. Long time no see. How are you?
And she smiles and she's just like, Bjorn, White Eye, Good to see you as always. Having a great time. A great time. Oh, food's great. Drinks flowing. Couldn't ask for a better party. At some point, I'll wish old Jackie a happy birthday, but I don't really know him that well, truthfully.
He's a stick in the mud. You don't really want to get to know him. Don't worry. You're not missing out.
Someone's jealous.
So can I get you a drink?
She holds up her drink, and then she downs it and shoves the mug into your chest.
I just hand the mug off to the nearest waitress and like do two more, like I'm not gonna actually run away. And I say, so how's business been?
Odwin would let out a rather robust belch, and then look at you as she kind of like wipes her hands and puts the money away and takes her foot off of the table and sort of sizes you up, and she goes, well, ever since the return of fight night, things are going pretty well over in the other business. Some stirring happening. The longer we're away from the governor's visit, the more likely it is that things are getting back to normal over there. I've been seeing some interesting folks coming back.
Interesting folks, like competition?
Competition's not exactly what I would call it, but some people we thought were long gone, some people who we thought fled town altogether.
Anybody I would know?
Give me an insight check, Fearn.
Okay. I got an 8, but hold on 1 second, because
Okay.
I got a thingy when I leveled up, only for saving throws. I could use my stupid. I wouldn't be able to use my storm room chart
No.
at an instant like this.
No.
Okay, I rolled an 8 then.
Okay.
But I want to use the storm room chart now for future rolls.
Okay.
It lasts for 1 minute.
So with an 8, I'll say, Fearn, you notice there's a little hesitation, but you don't really see much in the hesitation other than that she might be hesitant to fully disclose to you. But then she responds and says, well, Iron and Mana, you're so active all over the city and the region that I don't know who you know.
I guess that makes sense. How about anybody that you anybody fun to drink with? Anybody here tonight?
Honestly, everybody that I know at least that's here, you've already met or has already bought you a drink at some point on a fight night. But no, it's mostly business. With the governor leaving and with things slowing down, although I'll be honest, and she kind of points at you here and she slurs her words a little bit. She's, you and your friends here are shaking things up a bit with your little work you've been doing in the dockyards.
Oh, you heard about that.
How do you think I wouldn't hear about it? It's such a spectacle.
Yeah, I think they're trying to be a little quiet about, taking money, but, you got to keep that on the low,
Well, it sent a clear message to the Widow's Ward. And she does get a little quieter at this point as she looks around and kind of like spots all of the Iron and Mana folks she can see in the room. She says, it's a symbol that you've sent out there. You're
What do
willing
you mean by that?
Well, if you're not going to work with the Commodore, then she's going to send her dogs after you. And if you don't pay up, they might bite.
You
That's
think
Jaquet
I'm a dog?
biting.
You think I'm a dog now?
We're all dogs
woof.
here. Darren.
Yeah, but not the kind you're thinking of.
Oh, what kind are you?
The kind who doesn't take orders.
Oh,
The
so
kind
you're
you find on the streets.
a rabid dog then.
Just a dog that knows what it takes to survive.
I don't know about that. From the words that I've been hearing, people saw you sniffing around Winifred Teague's office just like a hunting hound, leashed by a master, serving their purpose.
I don't even remember who Winifred Teague is at this moment.
She's the one we were talking
she's
about. Bribe, who
I
you
was
guys
like,
bribed,
right,
or
right.
well, accepted a bribe from, or whatever it was. But she's basically indicating that word has spread about Iron and Mana's alliance with the Commodore.
Yeah, I just like give her a hard stare, and her drink comes, and like I hand it to her, but I don't drink the same drink. Like I basically they gave 2 drinks,
Mhm.
and I give her hers, I put mine on the table, and I
Mhm.
pull out the moonshine that I took from Jaquet, and I start drinking that instead.
Okay.
And I look back at her and say, I don't know where you're getting your information, but the White Eye is not Iron and Man.
Whatever you say, White Eye. Whatever you say.
How about you? Are you just some bouncer? Is that your... now that you're not the champion of Fight Night anymore, that must have took a hit from your reputation.
White Eye, at no point in this conversation did I not admit that I'm a dog. A well-fed dog. A well-paid dog. I don't care about glory or some greater purpose. I care about money. A roof over my head. And a few fun nights where, yeah, I get to beat the shit out of someone. So I don't aspire to much more than that. So yeah, I am a dog.
That's a case, maybe I have some work for you. Do dogs like to share information?
I think you're mixing up these metaphors here, Farron. I am not the dog that bites the hand of the owner that feeds me. You, on the other hand, rabid dog like you, no leash. Some information might spill out of your mouth.
What do you want to know?
And she looks around and she sobers up for a second. If you're really willing to spill details, then come by the order business tomorrow night.
Bring some money.
I gotta talk to the boss first. But
You
for
mean
the time
Docker?
Docker is not my boss.
I was laughing at that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It was
You laugh-
clearly a joke.
You laugh together as she grabs the drink that you're not drinking from and holds them up double fisting and goes, but for tonight, thank you. I'm gonna get back to the games.
I join her, and we make some ill-advised bets for a while.
Okay. All right. Other stuff folks want to do during this portion of the evening.
Jaquet is going to find Cadamus.
Yes. Yes. Cadmus is he, like you could imagine, is a social butterfly. even though he has this attitude behind him. Although, like, you could also imagine he is not going anywhere near the rascal corner or the awkward corner where Bruce and Sigil and actually, if he catches Bruce, he might eventually go over to talk to Bruce, who's been avoiding his calls. He hasn't actually been calling you, but no, you would find him hanging at a table close to the academic section, but not quite in it. He's with basically the non-dean professors. He's with Coralius Firma, and he's with Sebastian Wendt.
Right.
And they're sort of in their own little huddle right now, as they just seem to be talking. They're not like whispering or anything. They are definitely still socializing.
Where's my note about it? All right, yeah. So Jaquet kind of goes up to them and goes, Septimus, so good to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for coming. I wasn't sure if you would deign to come down to the lower city just for little old me, but I'm honored that you've attended.
Oh, Jaquet. No, of course. Why, how could I miss such a extravaganza? I had to see once I heard about it and heard about the short notice. I, to be honest, was expecting much more of a cart wreck here.
Why would you think that? Don't you think that Jaquet Touchard and Iron Mana are up to a little party? Don't you think that we would only choose the best location in town for such an extravagant party?
Oh, no, of course, Jaquet. Don't think me so silly. I was more about the timing of it and the swift nature of the invite that went out and the amount of word that spread throughout the city. Was a bit uncertain. I wasn't sure if I should wear a fine suit or a sack.
Well, we know you, Septimus, Jaquet says, eyeing him up and down in whatever ridiculous outfit he's wearing. You'll always come dressed to the tens.
Yeah, he is absolutely wearing a very floral pastel suit. He's got his cane with him, his walking stick. And you can see
has his cane with him.
Yep, and you can see he's like most people in here, like, you know, they took their coat off or they took their hat off. He is full suit jacket, full top hat on, all matching. He's got a little monocle that he keeps. Jaquet, if there's nothing else, you are entertaining.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And actually, Septimus, I was wondering if I could ask you a quick question. I know that you are a well-connected man who knows so much about so many things, and you know where to find the best, well, clearly the best clothes. Are those from Halcyon?
Well, the full set is certainly of Halcyon make. Certainly in the style of the Kiranor. The walking stick, though, is something that was gifted to me, as is the monocle. The clothes, Halcyon, but the accoutrement is of my own sourcing.
A little embarrassed to say, but I don't actually have a contact with a Halcyon clothier. If you happen to get a shipment from Halcyon in the near future, I would love if you could bring it my way and take this as an advanced payment. And Jaquet is going to hand him a platinum coin that was given to him earlier this evening by Septimus.
He reaches forward to take the coin, and he goes, "Oh, all right then, Jaquet. Perhaps there is coin behind those teeth of yours."
Flashes him just a big toothy grin and goes, "But of course, Jaquet Touchard is always full of coin. It's all the good business because, you know, I'm out there actually doing something, you know, saving lives, killing monsters. I don't know if you heard my performance earlier. Oh, that's right, you were a little late. But Iron and Mana is out in the field once again, banishing demons and saving poor damsels in distress.
Oh, yes, yes. I mean, of course, I don't need to hear your music to understand the exploits of your adventuring band. But, as I've done already, I don't need to go out there and get my hands dirty amongst monsters and demons.
Of course you don't. I was just saying I do it.
Yes, and I hire you.
I'm Jaquet Touchard.
And you're paid by people like me. But I do appreciate this, and I will look into acquiring some house. And he's like talking. He's specifically cutting you off.
Jaquet's doing the same thing, and it doesn't matter what they're saying. And the two professors are just sitting there like, haha, okay, you both have little tiny penises. We get it.
But there would be a point in the one-upsmanship of Pomp that Sebastian Went, who is the new professor of Biologica, would interrupt and say, I'm sorry to interrupt whatever is going on here, but...
I don't know, I lost track, honestly.
Cadmus, we have other things to discuss. Perhaps we should call it an evening. Cadmus would then kind of like... He has
sure, show up late to my party and leave early. That's fine. Please enjoy yourself, though.
Went, I think perhaps you're right, but I think we'll stay a little bit longer to see how the evening ends. I do apologize, Jaquet. I did not have enough notice to collect a gift for you. I didn't want to rush it, so perhaps part of this installment,
some of us can get something done in a short amount of time, whereas others take their sweet time. It's okay, I understand.
Yes. Of course, not all of us throw parties where the security is so lax we're almost assassinated. Anyway,
some of us maybe tried to have that stage as if they knew it was going to happen beforehand and decided to have the party anyways to prove a point to the world that Iron and Mana can handle anything thrown at them.
Oh, really? That's an interesting little hypothesis you have there of your own behavior. Are you saying you hired an assassin to assassinate yourself?
No. That's a good idea, though. You're full of good ideas. Thank you so much, Cadmus. Next time, I'll have more men show up. And Jaquet gives him a little wink.
Well, I do hope the rest of the night goes without any more kerfuffles, Jaquet. We're going to go have one more drink.
More. Makes the night enjoyable and memorable.
I did see a curious fellow talk to you earlier.
And at this, Jaquet's face immediately drops.
Oh.
And he goes, yes, the Dragonborn. I forget his name. His poppy brews some mean moonshine.
Yes, of course. No party is ever complete without moonshine from a cellar. No, I'm speaking, of course, of the bedazzled tabaxi that spoke with you. Seemed like quite an interaction.
Well, you know what they say. And Jaquet just turns and walks away. Doesn't even finish the thought, doesn't even give him a comeback, just turns and walks away.
And I will say, like, you do hear Cadmus snicker to the other professors, who do not snicker back. They're just sort of like, God, how do we get better friends?
And as he's walking away, Jaquet just says to himself, yes, you did the right thing. You're the bigger tabaxi. Yes, it is better to just leave that as it was. Ignoring the rest of the pissing contest he had with Cadmus.
Yeah, of course. Okay. Bruce and Septimus, is there anything particular you two would like to do at this point?
I was gonna say, whenever Siggles leaves, Septimus would like to go and speak with him briefly.
Sure thing. Yeah. It wouldn't be long after he went to sit back down that he would collect himself to head out. And if you'd like, you could follow him out or catch him before he leaves.
I like to follow him out so we have the conversation outside. So we like in front of him.
Creepy.
But before I go, Septimus will turn to Sal and be like, nobody goes upstairs besides the group, or if Oren says that they paid for a room here.
Sal nods his head. Anybody does look at you and he goes, he very quickly hand gestures just he basically tries to pantomime grab. Should I grab them or should I hit them? He's like, should I apprehend someone trying to come up or bonk them on the head like I do to Fearn when he's sleeping in a weird way?
Just restrain them.
No.
I won't be too long, so hopefully it doesn't come to that.
He nods his head. And you can rush up and catch Sigil as he's walking out the door. It's a nice night at this point. The cool air is actually refreshing when you step outside after kind of it's starting to get a little sweaty inside the bar right now. Mingled with the smell of fireworks smoke and booze, it's getting a little musky in there. But outside, you can feel a quick. It's that feeling of stepping out from a crowded room and feeling that breeze come over you. Your skin cool with some of the sweat from inside, as Sigil would hear you catching up with him and turn around.
Not a fan of parties yourself?
He looks at you, and there's a bit of an awkward pause as you can see that he's sizing you up, seeing you for the first time fully portraying your third arm, but also with your new arm. He does sort of size you up for a moment, and especially after the stopping the assassin, he would look at you and say, I've never much cared for too many people in one place. It can get messy. But I will say, it's impressive to see what your group can turn around in such short notice, but also you yourself, Septimus, don't seem like one who cares much for parties either.
It's a collection of people that abuse the gifts, or the gift of life that we're given.
I think
like
it
to keep
is
myself without tarnished, unblemished, in all of my faculties. As you see tonight, if something goes awry, make sure I'm absolutely focused.
And you see he turns fully towards you now, where he was kind of like half turned to you and sort of puts the walking stick in the ground and leans on it. I share such desire to keep my faculties when amongst so many discordant voices. But I would be reticent to claim such revelry as tarnishing. There can be great beauty and creation in the mingling of such uncertainty.
Septimus kind of like confused, or not confused, but gives like a face where he doesn't agree with that. But he's not here for a debate right now. Like, I guess we see things differently.
I would disagree, Septimus. And I must say, I don't say that to disagree with you. I say that to open the perimeters of your perspective. Your desire for order, purity, is not so much an opposite in all situations. Find people mingle chaos and order far too much as black and white. There's a dance happening. Requires careful steps, though it might seem like pure chaos.
But one can't know everything, even if one hopes. But, like I said, if I can keep myself prepared as much for the unknown, that's what I strive for.
A reasonable perspective. But, as my gift for Jaquet implied, keeping an eye open. You must ensure you're truly keeping your eyes open to all outcomes and all surprises. If you are overly binding yourself to your fears, to your assumptions, well, I find most people lose sight of what's around them. And this is not a lecture, Septimus. Just a friendly suggestion.
In that I can agree. I've felt loss, having blinders on, focusing on one goal. I thought that the deity that I had and worshipped was something entirely different. Lacuna. And I lost part of myself, being blinded by wanting to believe. But that's the reason I come out to talk to you right now. Sure that nobody else brought it up, but I thought it was important to at least tell you, since we've had quite a professional and educationally exchanged relationship. We found Monodrone. Or rather, he found us. Completely consumed by Lacuna. And we defeated him.
A shame. Such an interesting creature to be lost to such possessive powers.
If what Monodrone said is true, he's not the only one out there. I hope we can find another like him. But you're right. There's so much I wanted to know. But the abyss of Lacuna, it was a shame to see it corrupted.
I fear there's much more we could discuss, Septimus, but the hour is late. I'll leave you with one last piece of advice, which you seem to have already learned. And I can understand on a personal level. But be careful what abyss you stare into. Even beyond this lacuna, otherworldly entities, gods, ordaining spirits, celestials, demons. They are almost entirely alien to the material plane of existence. They don't walk amongst us. They don't share our steps. They don't understand the day, the week, the month, even those of legend. Twilight Shepherd. Others from forgotten times. All have frustrating relationships with these beings. So be careful where you place all of your faith.
Let's go.
Good night. And despite that, you've done well with your faith. As he just nods to your arm and then turns back to hop into a carriage that was waiting for him.
And with that, Septimus will go back inside.
Okay.
And relieve Sal of his awkward duty.
As soon as you relieve Sal of his awkward duty, you see Sask comes prancing around, dancing, and grabs Sal's hand and pulls him out onto the dance floor.
I like to imagine, what, she tried it the first time and he just was not budging.
Right? He's like, I am on duty.
Yeah. So,
All right. I think this would be a good place to take a quick break. So we will jump back into the party to close it out with anything else that everyone would like to do, or any other unexpected visitors or guests who want to talk to our friends here. And then we'll jump into the after party, I suppose. All right. We will be back shortly, friends. Please stick around and join us in a moment.
Yeah.
Welcome back, folks, to Adrift and Aldhalor. Our heroes are enjoying the party. Mike. Welcome back to Adrift in Aldhalor. Shannon, cut that. Welcome back to Adrift in Aldhalor. Our heroes are enjoying the later portion of Jaquet's birthday party. There have been several interactions with various NPCs, some with promises of future opportunities, some with veiled threats, and some just having a pissing contest with Jaquet. But we return to the party after Septimus had a interesting conversation with Sigil as he left. Septimus returns inside, and the party is quite raucous at this point. You still have kind of the calm corner where Bruce was hanging out, but people are dancing a lot more now. We're getting into the real, like, nothing productive is going to happen anymore. It's just going to be having a good time, drinking, gambling. Maybe a few fights might even break out. As you can see, some of the people who maybe wouldn't stay super late at a pub like this start to finish up their evening. Like the deans are probably going to head off to the Admiralty Court. I mean,
The deans who didn't even say hi to me.
And I mean, they haven't left yet. They might say hi. If anyone would say hi, it would probably be Dean Bronin, at least, since he likes to talk to everybody. But as the night is going on, Jaquet, Bruce, Fearn, Septimus, where would you all be in this sort of like peak of the party?
Jaquet has started up a new game. It's called could have had something a lot more clever for this.
Do you want me to see what everyone else is doing, and then you can come back with it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Fearn, would you still be hanging out with Odwin by the arm wrestling tables and the gambling?
Yeah, probably. You know, I would hang out in that general vicinity. If Odwin, gets boring or whatever, or unfun, I would probably just like make my way around, but stay with that general crew. Try and make it like ruckus and yell at people or like get excited when people make good bets or whatever, and
Yeah,
just have a good time, get drunk.
Absolutely. Septimus, you took your place back at the stairs. Would you stay on your kind of guard post?
Is it like the same volume of people, or is it kind of dying down?
There's less. The best way to put it is there's less nobodies there. There's less people who none of you know, and it's more becoming concentrated to people who actually have a connection to Jaquet or have met Iron and Mana. There are still some strangers there, but for the most part, like this is after this moment, this is the highest peak of volume and partying. Henceforth, it's going to start to die down.
For now, he'll stay where he is.
Okay.
There's nothing particular he's gonna want to do. Although he might want to go upstairs and talk to Mr. Assassin at some point.
Sure.
Maybe in a little bit. Not right now.
Maybe a little later. Okay, no problem. Bruce.
Bruce would probably position himself towards the door. He's like getting ready for everybody to go outside.
Okay. You may want to at some point like officially end the party so that people go outside at the same time. Otherwise, you might find. I imagine Bruce standing there like really excited for what he's got out there, and then it's just like the groups are just too small who are leaving for what he wants to show off. So
Yeah,
you may
exactly.
want to check in with Jaquet at some point and
I might just message Jaquet from across the room.
Yeah.
Like, hey, when you're ready to end this party, I got a surprise for you outside.
You just hear a grunt, an internal grunt of confirmation as you look over and you see Jaquet has set up this whole like game area. And in minor illusion over his head are the words "tax the tabaxi," as he is basically trying to get anyone to try to beat him at dice. And he's using his charlatan's dice. And is just winning hand after hand after hand, as no one seems to be able to beat him. And he is at this point drinking a little excessively.
Okay. All right. So first things first, Fearn, would you like to do any actual gambling, like put some money on?
Yes, but I also don't want to take up too much time rolling.
Oh no, it's something we can do really quick.
All right.
All
a
right.
high or low, 50-50.
Nope, this is a real system that we're gonna use. It doesn't take long. We don't have to role play it. It's just some rolls. So you make 3 checks. The first one is a Wisdom Insight check. The second one is a Charisma Deception check. And the third one is a Charisma Intimidation check. If you have proficiency with an appropriate gaming set, that tool proficiency can replace the relevant skill in any of the checks. So, like if you're proficient in dice or something like that, or proficient in playing cards, you can use that in place of one of the other ones. And for you, Fearn, I'll augment this slightly and say, if you'd like to be a little intimidating based on your size, you can do a strength intimidation roll.
I mean, usually I would use my size to win people money. But in this case, it's I would probably be betting on whatever Odwin bets on for half the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll give it a shot.
How much money do you want to bet? I'm based on the group around you. I'm maxing it out at 40 silver.
I was gonna say 40 silver, but I don't think I would do it all in one bet. It would be over the span of the night, and if I was doing better, I would probably be a little bit more conservative. I'd probably call it if I won, maybe a quarter of my money. I'm not going 40 all or nothing sort of.
No problem. So what I'll give you I'll give you the opportunity to back out before the third roll, the strength intimidation, based on if you've failed or succeeded the first 2, which could save you some money.
Sounds good.
All right, so go ahead and roll me an insight check first.
Can I use my stupid crystal ball magic storm rune thing?
Let me double check something with that. Just because I don't remember if the feature it's based on is for skill checks in addition to saving throws and attack rolls.
Until the state ends, when you or another creature sees within 60 feet of you makes an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check. You
There
can
we
use
go.
a reaction to roll an advantage or disadvantage.
Then we are good. You can definitely do that. So go ahead and you can activate your storm rune.
Okay, so I activate it, and this is for wisdom. You said was the first check.
Wisdom, insight, yes.
Just imagine Fearon sitting there playing cards, looks around, and is like, and then just a rune lights up on his head or person somewhere, and he's like,
Yeah, exactly.
and I'm just like, you cheating, bud? Are you using magic to cheat?
What? Shut up.
all right. Sorry, I didn't say anything.
All right, go ahead and
I got a 10.
10. Okay. Unfortunately, that does not pass the first check. The DC was a 12. And just for transparency, the way these DCs are calculated is I roll 2d10 and add 5 to them. So as you're kind of going through the night at this first moment, it doesn't look like Odwin is betting quite well. She might be drunker than you think, as she's saying, like, yeah, we got to bet on him. I know you beat the shit out of him, but we've got to bet on Finch. Finch all night. But we can go for our second round, which is going to be the charisma deception check.
All right. I'm so good at deception, as you guys know. I got a 4, Sean.
Oh,
A 4. Okay. All right. So in a moment where you're maybe trying to get away from Odwin's bets and do some of your own, they're still not quite panning out, as that one would also not be a success. Now you have an opportunity to walk away with half your money still, 20 silver, or you can go for one more and potentially make some money. This is a little different than what the actual rolls are, but the actual rolls don't account for giving you an option out. So I'll say you can walk away with half your money now, or you can go for it. But the thing is, if you lose this one, it's a significant, you owe more than the bet you made.
And what's I don't know the check yet, or do I?
Is this kind of for an overall gambling? Like sort of like this is like your overall situation versus a single round. So either keep 20 silver or go for it. And if you do go for it, I'll say what you would win is 60 silver.
Shawnee. Everyone's wiggling. That makes me want to go for it. Fine, I'll do it.
All right.
It's whatever.
It's a strength intimidation roll.
Okay, here we go. Well, intimidation is charisma, Sean.
I'm saying you can substitute strength for your charisma if you want to use your sort of sizeliness to intimidate.
He's being nice.
Okay, I'll take it.
So don't F it up.
Are you proficient in intimidation?
Yes.
Okay, so then do
Well,
a strength.
no, I'm not proficient in intimidation.
Okay.
No.
Okay, then you could just roll a strength check.
Strength. Yeah.
You roll
a strength
d20 and then add your strength modifier.
Yeah, it's not a athletics check.
Okay, so my strength modifier is a +5.
Yep.
And I got a nat 20.
Okay. All right, which is good because it was an 18 DC.
Yes.
So you are able to. It's actually almost like kind of a weird moment where like you've just been busting all night, and then suddenly you're just sort of like almost you don't know. You don't even like bet on anyone else. You just like, I got to make my money back. I'm going in for an arm wrestling challenge to someone for this much, and you're able to walk away with 60 silver. So you're able to make yourself 20 silver there.
I go with a person. I'm like, it's like it's somebody who's been like winning all night.
Yeah.
And I do it like I give myself like a handicap or something. Like I say like use both your arms or something like that.
And the guy's like, all right, let's go. As he grabs onto your arm and tries to pull his whole weight. This does cause another effect to happen, though, here, where you see there's several other people who are going, what does two of us pull on your arm? Double or nothing?
No, but I'll do it for fun if other people want to bet.
All right, let's do it. All right. Give me another strength check.
Oh, I didn't roll it with advantage, and I got a 1. Can I roll it again because I have it?
This is a moment where I'll say, Bjorn, it's a little bit more about the camaraderie of the table, where you have these two scrawnier guys who look like a little younger than everyone else too, and they just sort of like are pulling on your arm. You're pulling on your arm, and you're kind of like joking with them a little bit, like you're pulling them in and then letting them take it, but then eventually they just sort of like they look at you, and you can see them. They both look at each other, grin, and then go heave, and they both pull really hard, and you do fall out of your seat, but it's all in good fun as they pat you on the shoulder. But you aren't able to beat their double.
That's fine.
Arm wrestle.
I'm good with that.
And Oddwin would like pat you on the back, and there's a genuine like, for as much as she was kind of messing with you earlier, like she's genuinely enjoying your company and laughs with you and cheers a drink, as the whole group is very like just generally in good spirits because of your fun there.
Oh, this is my favorite song. La, 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 la.
As you can all see, Fionn clearly
not the
drunk at this
song.
That's
point.
what Fionn thinks he's hearing.
And yeah, from across the room, Jaquet's like, that's not the song.
You're wrong.
What do you mean?
Okay.
That's always the song.
Jaquet, with your cheating, you are able to, of course, win in this situation. But I would like you to roll me a D100 for complications of your cheating, and choose high or low.
Low.
Okay.
30.
Okay.
Nice.
You might notice a few people who are like, what's going on here? These days ain't that's not right. These days ain't right. But generally, you're able to use your charisma and your pizzazz and maybe a little bit of the drunken confidence to keep them off your trail, as there are no complications to your cheating at this time.
Uh-oh.
Which means you could walk away with 80 silver.
Oh. Papa lights. I'm Papa. All right, so Jaquet, runs the text to tabaxi game for a bit, and then when it's like getting late, like, after midnight, close to 1, and like there's enough people leaving, Jaquet like almost like breaking out of a stupor, playing with the dice. It's like, Bruce. He gets up and rushes over him. You said you have a surprise. Everyone, sweet Bruce has got something planned for us.
Yeah.
All right. And Bruce had like a spring roll on a plate. Like, all right. He was ready then. He's not ready now.
As you see people, like there's folks just having fun. They're not super drunk. They're dancing. But then there's obviously a bunch of people who are like, Bruce! Like there's a bunch of people who are just sort of like Bruce, because of your pyrotechnics in the earlier show, people now there's a small group of fans of Bruce's fireworks. As you can see, Orin comes over to you, Bruce, and lifts you up and says, "Oh, Bruce, Tell me you got a good show. Tell me you got a good show for them.
Hey, might be all right.
All right, everybody, outside now. And Oren's like actually like pushing people out of the bar, and like as his staff is like quickly rushing to just like clean shit up as much as they can before anyone comes back in, because this place is a fucking mess. If anyone lingers behind to see the floor, it's definitely getting sticky. It's just not a great look once it's not an actual party. It's just an empty room. But everyone starts piling in outside, or piling out to the front of the tavern. Again, all of you, like Septimus earlier, feel that rush of cool air, and for some of you it's very refreshing and sobering, as you go outside and everyone's gathered in a big group in front of the tavern.
Let me just check one thing real quick. Yeah, okay, cool. Okay. So yeah, you go outside, and once everybody's out there, Bruce just does like a tiny little blip, and like he's got like Bruce has like a series of triggers on his like his little pad, and he's like just pressing buttons on this little like
little switchboard
steel box. And the first one goes off, and it's a tiny little like golden whatever, just to get people's attention in the sky. It's mostly just noise in the dark sky, and as it goes on, it gets less and less loud, and they keep going higher and higher up, and they get more flashy and flashy. But large, vibrant colors fill the sky, blues, reds, and then at the very end, in purple, it's going to be a combination of skyrite and explosion that write out Jaquet's name, but starting from J all the way through, and
all the way to what?
It says DreamWorks.
All the way to two shoes.
Two shoes.
As you see, just the kind of the finale, it has these explosions of fireworks as the smoke in the violet color goes across, as plastered on the sky of Hyven is your name, Jaquet.
No one sees this, but Jaquet weeps a single tear as I imagine he like is over next to Bruce, and he just like takes Bruce, and like in that aggressive manner that he tends to deal with Bruce. Like Jaquet's always generally like aggressive with Bruce, but it's an aggressiveness that then turns to like a half hug as Jaquet just presses him against his hip, as you can almost feel like a vibration in Jaquet. And of course, Bruce can't see his eyes, so he doesn't know that Jaquet is silently shedding a tear of appreciation.
Well, I imagine Bruce like kind of reads the room a little bit. He's like, all right, wow, this is kind of nice. Yeah, and there's a lot of smoke everywhere.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
A stray spark landed on one of the thatched roof cottages, and there's a fire going on in the Brigadier District. Unbeknownst to the party is just like, this is beautiful, we love it. And then in the background, you see a fire brigade like, hut, 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 hut.
Yeah, and the fire brigade gets to the Brigadier District, and they're like, "You got the money for us? No money? All right."
And the entire flea market burns.
Yeah. That didn't happen. But no, it's quite lovely, Jaquet, as it's flying up in the air, and you can see, like, as the smoke descends, there are still kind of like lingering sparks that fall down all around, giving this sort of bokeh effect all around of lights and revelry as people are smiling and looking up into the air. A few people are coughing from the smoke. Jaquet, give me a wisdom saving throw.
I imagine Bruce.
What were you gonna say?
I imagine Bruce had Lolly Rock out for that whole thing, and Bruce is like, "That is the first time I've ever done that. That was the first time I ever was able to see fireworks."
You see a drunken sass comes over and just sort of like puts her hands on your shoulders, Bruce, and she's like, "That was the." I can't do Sass's accent. It's just basically just saying that was the most beautiful thing she's ever seen, like drunkenly giving you accolades about this. And
Oh, thank you.
Orin comes over and just sort of gives you a hearty slap on the back. He goes, "That'll do. That'll do, Bruce."
That'll do, Piglet. That'll do.
But Jaquet, you got a 4, you said?
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jaquet. Everything slows down for you.
Wait.
Yeah, this music might be. You want to switch to something a little more? Yeah, a little more. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, a little more. As Jaquet, you're so happy in this moment. You know, you are in a new world. You have all the symbols of status around you. All manner of folk from your new city praising you, and your name is written in the sky by one of your new best friends.
Wrong word. Just friends.
One of your new best acquaintances.
Thank you.
But it's all slowing down for you, and then perhaps it's just a little bit of the alcohol really getting to you now. Perhaps the showcasing of the moonshine is catching up to you, as the sparks are all falling around you, and you're looking through this crowd, and the faces are beaming with smiles that you look at, and you smile back. The more you look between them all, the more you are reminded of the small things tonight. You swear for a second you see Ahmed back in the audience. You could just see that steely-eyed tabaxi staring at you. For a moment, you see... you're starting to hallucinate a little bit.
Oopsies.
You're seeing the De Leon brothers in the audience. Not necessarily enemies, but kind of. And there's more sparks than there should be around you. As you can see in front of you, the entire tavern erupts into flames, mingled with these sparks. And you're rubbing your eyes maybe, like, what is this? Is this real? People around you are still all laughing. Some of them are dancing out in the streets now. Uncontrollably, one could say. And it starts to look gaudy to you. And frightening. Perhaps. Or you're entertained by it. However Jaquet would feel in this sense of revelry that goes beyond the party. In front of the entire tavern, erupted in flames. But you are still in this stupor as you look at it all. As you see a bow of a ship just pierce through the rooftop of the tavern, made of bones, with fire wreathing it. As you can see a skeletal specter standing at the bow. But then the specter leaps down with a rope from the rigging and lands down in front of you. And they shift. And you can see in front of you Roland. Is he
a skeleton?
No, he's no longer. When he I'm sorry, I should clarify. When he shifts from that skeletal figure to this form. And he's holding on to the rope with this smile, and he almost hangs in a drunken stupor himself. I see what you were running from, Jaquet. Oh, you're so lucky, aren't you, with those dice out here? A good party, I think. Look at everyone so happy. As he lets go of the rope and it snakes back up. And the ship, with crunching noises, sinks back into the tavern. I know what it might look like, but I borrowed that motif from your little nightmare. Oh. How proud of you I am. The way you've come into this town and taken it over almost overnight. With the help of my treasure there. And perhaps a little luck. Don't worry, you don't have to say anything. But I thought I'd pay you a visit on your birthday.
And Jaquet speak? Like if he tries to?
It comes out slurred, but you can speak.
Yeah. Roland, help? And he like kind of confusedly looks around as he pulls out the dice and he goes, I didn't. These weren't. I did this myself.
Oh, that's what everybody says. But those dice have gotten you far. And some other luck beyond this, but I will say, Jaquet, you don't beseech Lady Luck for much, and that's kept you in some good graces. But I really just came here to say happy birthday. And he'll step up close to you and he'll put his hand on your shoulder and tap it. And you kind of like look down, and the hand has that demonic red skin and claws at the end that he just sort of lets drop. Oh, and you can hear it as it cuts a hole in your suit jacket. Oh, apologies, Jaquet. Keep an eye out. There's more than assassins at foot in this city. Don't mind them. And he just points to the people around. I tend to have this effect. Good night for now.
Thanks
I'll be
for coming.
I'll be keeping my eyes on you with great interest in your success. I knew I believed in you, right? I knew you were the right person to sit with.
And Jaquet just kind of stares back dumbfounded. Right.
And he snaps his fingers, and that rigging coils back down like a snake. And he grabs onto it, and it pulls him up into the flames. And as he's pulled up, the flames almost get sucked in with him and vanish entirely to reveal the tavern completely intact, unburnt. As time catches back up with you, and all these people, they're still like dancing and laughing, but they almost like all look embarrassed for a moment with how extreme their revelry got.
So Jaquet was next to me that whole time. Did he seem out of sorts, or was he just kind of staring into space? Like
He did seem out of sorts, like he was staring into nothingness.
but he didn't like actually say anything.
No, none of those words actually came out of his mouth.
Got it.
Were they affected by the revelry of Roland?
Yes, they would have been. So, Bruce, you would have felt also an intense sense of joy, and you would feel a desire to dance, and you would probably attribute it to just the fact that there's you succeeded and you saw fireworks, and perhaps Sass even like started to dance with you as well there, and you, any of you who was outside for this would have started to feel whatever joy manifests in for you.
Fionn gets naked?
Nope, not that. Well, if Fionn wants to go streaking, he can, but someone might have a problem with it in the group. But you would all feel that weird sense of shame creep in as Jaquet snaps out of it a little. But Bruce, you were right next to him, so you would have noticed. You even might have seen it as strange that everyone is so happy and joyful and dancing, and Jaquet is just sort of staring as if almost like someone who's really drunk who catches their reflection in the bathroom.
I'm gonna, tug on his sleeve. Jaquet, you right? Jaquet. Hey.
And he's gonna look to his suit jacket. Is there a mark?
Yes.
Looking down at Bruce, did you see a figure just now? With his hand on me?
No. I was just dancing with Saskia. You were kind of just standing there. I thought you were kind of looking at the sky, kind of in awe.
And at this, Jaquet gets down and like turns Bruce to face him a little bit, gently, not as aggressive as he used to. And he just goes, I think I had too much moonshine.
All right.
Can you make sure I get to bed okay? Yes, thank you. As he steps up, and I almost imagine he just looks and is acting stone cold sober.
All right, everybody, it's time to go home. Party's over.
Here, and at this point, you were able to at least get your shirt off.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd probably take me a really long time to get all this armor and stuff off.
But you notice, even as you say this, Bruce, like, people leave out of like everyone has like a bad look on their face as they're leaving. Like some people stick around and head back inside and are able to recover from the feeling of shame. But you notice people just sort of like scratching the back of their head and being like looking to each other awkwardly as they begin to walk away, as there's this latent shame that overwhelms people after experiencing this revelry.
Why is my shirt off?
I don't know. You tell me.
You see Odwin is standing there, like, scratching the back of her head, and she's like, you said we were going to go streaking? But I think I'm going to go home. I've had too much to drink.
Oh, all right. Fair enough.
As she turns to leave, she does look at you, Fionn, though, and kind of catching herself back into a more joyful state. She goes, offer still stands, Fionn.
I'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. As she kind of like grabs another Widow's Ward resident and just sort of grabs them and tries to like bring the mood back up with them as they head back. They're probably going to go to the Widow's. They're probably going to drink a little more at the Otter business to shake off the shame. But when you go back inside, that like mess that is the party is like gut punching almost to see the party aftermath. After that, like everyone still feels like the high of the fireworks show, but then there's like, it's just like the post party fall hits everyone a lot sooner than it would have organically. As you go in, you can see like the waiters are cleaning things up. The statue's half melted. The food is in a disarray. There's booze all over the place.
Oren, can we take care of this in the morning?
You see, Oren looks like he's like sobered up too, because he was like, you go to like a dive bar and the manager's drinking at the end of the bar. It's like, oh, yeah, no problem. We'll take care of it in the morning. We'll close up. Last drinks for anyone?
No. That's all right.
Yeah, I got a guest upstairs I gotta handle.
And Orin goes
Are
about
you
his
in? Are
work.
you in right enough shape to do that now? I was going to maybe speak with him.
Be my guest. I mean, he's in my room, but I mean, if you want to handle it, I could.
Actually, I think we should all go pay our friend a visit.
All right, come on, follow me.
All right.
And Jaquet just kind of like shakes his head like he's like trying to shake off, you know, seeing an undead creature of nightmares that claims to have his soul in possession of it or something like that. He's not too sure.
It's a hell of a
Yeah.
party, though.
It sure was something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it's good. You should never like to see the aftermath.
You guys did a number on this place, all right.
Robespierre will help clean it up in the morning.
Of course.
And me, I'll help. He says, looking around.
You see, like, there's like at least one like waiter who had kind of like a little bit of a like eye roll, but then kind of like just
Yeah.
smiles at you, nods. As Sass would excuse herself to go collect her thoughts by the shore.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you're all able to head up to Fearn's room, where once inside, you'd see Fearn. I imagine you tied this guy up to a chair or something.
Yeah, I would say I probably tied him up to either a chair or something that's like attached to the wall.
Yeah.
And I also knocked him out, so he might be awake, he might not be.
Well, it has been a couple hours, so he is awake. Otherwise, he'd be dead.
Well, I could have woken up and then fallen back into sleep.
True.
You know, he's been
I'll
up there
say
for a while.
I'll say he's in a stupor. Like his head is he's definitely he's like definitely like his head is like drooping. Like imagine you just beat him up a little bit. You didn't absolutely destroy the man when you knocked him out. So he's got like a bloody nose. And he's just sort of like lifts his head definitely in a stunned, staggered state.
If there's another chair in the room, Jaquet will drag it over. Otherwise, he'll just like kind of throw himself seated onto Fearn's bed. He just kind of snaps in front of the face of this guy and goes, "Hey, hey."
No, his hands are tied. He can't do that. He looks up and there's the hair. Like you can see, he has like almost like truthfully, almost like a bowl cut, but it's all like a mess in the front right now and hanging over his eyes as he just sort of slowly lifts his head. And you can see he's got just sort of the scruff on his chin, like certainly a widow's warder, like definitely not someone from anywhere else other than those parts. As he just sort of lifts his head.
Jaquet mage hands. I assume there's water in the room. He mage hands like a water skin or glass or whatever, and offers it to the assassin and goes, "Water." Tilt your head back a bit as he finagles the glass like kind of into his mouth, not pouring it down yet, waiting to see if he's receptive.
He would respond. He would be receptive to it, somewhat in that half stupor, like just like accepting water from someone right now. He might not even fully understand that it's the person he was supposed to be here killing that's giving it to him. As he'll lean his head back.
So Jaquet gives him a little water. I assume it's that classic thing where like the guy's like, because he can't control, it's like, and coughs up a little bit.
Definitely.
It's like, oh, sorry about that.
Mingles with the blood from his bloody nose too. So he looks messier now.
Right. And Jaquet, puts it back on the table and goes, "Okay, who was it? Hey, who was it?"
Why should I tell you?
Jaquet just looks at Fearn.
Normally, even if I have a few drinks, I'm perfectly fine to be doing things like this, but I've had a few more drinks than a few, and I use my bonus action to summon a hand axe into my hand. And and I'm just like spinning it around. Like I almost drop it, but I catch it with my other hand, and then I slam it into the floor, the wooden floor in between his legs.
And you see he's like his head goes back and almost like jolts back to the point where he's like almost like snaps and he's like, oh. And then he kind of like twists his neck and it cracks a little, and then he opens his eyes wide and inhales deeply. That'll wake him.
Who was it?
And you can see he's calculating in his head. The De Leon brothers.
How much am I worth? With a toothy grin.
And you see he kind of he smirks and laughs a little there. They said you'd be cocky. $2,000 silver pieces.
Jaquet lets out a long whistle and goes, turning to the other three, I wouldn't blame you if you guys, came after me. For a price like that.
And he kind of like looks around and sees all of you. But they've heard of what iron and mana can do. It's supposed to be a message to the rest of you. What?
Well, message received. They have to do a lot better and maybe raise the price to get an assassin that's actually, good.
And you see he kind of just sits there very much ashamed when you say that. And he just sort of mumbles. He doesn't say anything clearly, but he clearly wants to respond to that.
What was that? I can't quite hear you. I'm a little... the hangover's already coming on. If you could just speak a little louder.
And he kind of looks up at you. And you can see, like, there is, like... One, there's defeat on his face. And you could all see that. Like, he knows, like, he's toast. Like, if he doesn't participate, he's either going to be in a jail cell or worse. And maybe rumors have spread that Jaquet Touchard has a tendency to take care of those who side with him. But he does look, and he does kind of, this is probably like the last defiant thing he has in him. As he just looks at you, Jaquet, and says, people who talk like you in this line of business will find themselves in chairs like this, eating their words.
I'm sorry, what's your name, friend?
It's Liren.
Well, Liren, let me give you a bit of advice. You're gonna kill someone. You should really bring a team. Because only with a team that anyone can get anything done. And I have a habit of, talking with those that we, capture alive, and I don't know if rehabilitating's the right word, but, they at least showed some potential. You, though. And then Jaquet looks up at Fearon again and goes, would you like to do the honors?
Seriously?
To be very clear here, the honor is to punch him out.
You see the guy, like, at that point was like,
not kill. We're gonna turn him into the Commodore's office. We are not killing this man. That's not what we're doing here. If you didn't do it, I was gonna have to do it. And I can admit right now that I don't think I could do it in one hit. You, though, Fjern, you can do it in one hit. I think it would just, kind of really accent this interaction very astutely. Acutely?
Right. Okay, Liren. Buddy over here wants me to beat the shit out of you. How do you feel about that?
It's not necessary. I've already helped. I've already complied. I won't. Well, you've already tied me up. You don't have to
You tried to kill me.
maim.
Regardless, that was a direct threat against me. Jaquet Touchard does not accept direct threats.
You know what, Jaquet? I think it might be good for you. You want to just give it a go? I mean, you did say that you can't knock him out in one punch. I'm willing to take that bet.
Something lights in Jaquet, and then he shing, takes out his claws and he goes, "No, unfortunately, I don't think I would leave our friends with such a nice face as he's got," as he takes a claw up and just gently caresses along the jawline with his claw. Not enough to draw blood, but just, enough to... As he goes, "Do what you want. We'll turn him in the morning. I'm tired and had a really weird experience, so I'm going to bed." As Jaquet pushes himself up to leave.
Bjorn will not knock this guy out.
Okay.
He's just gonna leave him tied up. Maybe gag him.
Easy enough to do.
He's been disarmed too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Jaquet took his pistola.
Well, that was handled pretty quickly. So I think I'll retire as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all right, Bruce?
Jaquet's a little off.
Well, he has quite a bit of drink tonight.
Yeah, that's...
And also survived this man shooting him in the stomach.
Yeah, and what was the deal with that? I don't know, everyone silent at some point. Someone showed up.
Someone showed up.
Never mind. We'll talk later in the morning about it.
Everyone have bed?
Before bed, Fearn might just want to have one last thing with Jaquet.
Sure. Fear and catches you before you head completely back to your room.
Yep.
Hey, I appreciate the offer, but I'm just not in the mood to beat the shit out of someone that's literally means nothing to me.
I mean, he might not mean... He should mean something to you, shouldn't he? Like, he tried to kill you. Even if it was a sorry attempt. If you know who did this, shouldn't you... I mean, is the Commodore really the person you want to trust with this person?
Yes. The Commodore, for all her faults, stands for order in this city. And doesn't Iron and Mana stand for order in this city as well? Don't we owe it to get lowlives like him off the streets? I mean, I understand what you're saying, but
I
Leon brothers are a means to an end for me, for LaRue. We have to play a very delicate game. I have to play a delicate game.
Yeah, delicate's not my strong suit. And
I
in
know.
fact, I'm kind of getting a little sick of your games, to be honest.
Excuse me?
I don't really know what's going on, but clearly, whether you or LaRue rubbed some people the wrong way, and now we've got some sort of
Whoa, whoa,
reputation.
whoa, 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 whoa. Fear, this is all your fault. You started by killing Hastings, okay? Then you go around making a big deal about your mask, walking around the docks, shouting, saying Iron Man's name, messing with Sam. Don't put this on me, okay?
I am putting it on you. We did this.
No, you did this. Jaquet Duchard is delicate. Fionn White-Eye is a bat, a heavy sludge hammer that smashes through anything it sees. And that's great. But when the house starts falling down around you, don't blame the delicate thief that snuck in to steal the gold, because he had nothing to do with that demolition. That's on you.
What you need to understand is that what I do and what you do is a part of a whole. We're a team, and my actions reflect on you just as much as your actions reflect on me. And I have been sitting on the sidelines trying not to get involved with your delicate operations.
You haven't been sitting on the sidelines. You always insert yourself into every conversation. What are you talking about?
I didn't do anything for the I didn't sneak into anywhere and do anything for the Winifred Teague issue. You've been
Because you were busy at fight night. You chose to do that.
right, because I didn't have a place. I wasn't helping you by being involved in there. She was suspicious of me. I had to do something else.
Okay? If that's your perception of things. But know that my way gets results, Fionn. And that's what matters in the end.
So, what you're saying is my way doesn't.
Sorry, your way gets results. And it makes a big mess. My way gets results. And is a little more refined. Now, if that's all, I bid you adieu. And we'll speak in the morning.
Whatever.
As the two of you part ways, I would say the Harlequin and Chalice is not a very large tavern. Bruce and Septimus, you would have heard that conversation.
Sure.
But the night goes on as downstairs a few of the late shifters clean up. The four of you can find your places of rest with whatever feelings linger from the night. Discontent, shame, trying to forget it all. Maybe a little bit of happiness as you start to think, well, the early part of the night was nice. Trying to fight back the lesser feelings at the end of the night. While you're all asleep, downstairs, amongst the late night crew, there are a few guests still there, having a last drink, or hesitating to go home, perhaps out of that same weird feeling that everyone had at the end of the party. Orin kind of is at the bar, pouring himself a drink, scratching his head, as one guest of the party has remained behind as everyone left. And sitting down on one of the stools and tapping his claw on the table is Kellen. As he looks to Orin. And Orin kind of gives him a side eye because the last time he saw him, he questioned him significantly. And Kellen just sort of looks up to the rooms above and then just to Orin. So he just says, I won't keep you up tonight, Orin, but I have a lot of questions about Iron and Mana and their associations. A lot of questions. And he kind of looks around. Hopefully this bar will survive, unlike Kana's. But this looks like a mighty first night for Iron and Mana. And their triumphant return. Good night. As he just sort of steps through the party and kind of like intentionally is like exaggerating walking through the mess and like stepping on just plates and things that have fallen on the ground. He sort of takes one last look at the now half melted Jaquet statue as he goes out the door and into the night. You all sleep. You wake up the next morning. Whatever time. Some of you a little more hungover than others. Some of you bright and early, like Septimus. Jaquet. You wake up feeling miserable. There's a package at your door. Inside.
Mage hand. Bring it over. Doesn't get up at all. Still laying on his back.
Mm-hmm. Does the mage hand open it up?
Well, what's it look like?
It's just a little box. And like a jewelry box almost. It's very small.
Mage hand shakes it.
You hear the sounds of a card inside. Like almost like a hard stock card shaking in the box. And something small that's a little heavier.
Open up.
So the first thing you see, since you shook it up, the presentation is lost a little bit. But it wasn't anything serious. It was just what you saw first. You actually see the little whatever was heavy in there. And it is a small little stone. Just looks like a rock.
There's nothing else.
There's a card on it that if you look at, it just says, "Happy birthday. Sincerely, Mr. Greaves." It was inside the room.
Jaquet sits up slowly and surveys the room. Anything out of place? Anything else?
Give me a perception check. Or investigation.
Perception, please. 15.
With 15, the only thing that you notice, you kind of like at first maybe look around. You're surveying. You don't see anything out of the ordinary. But maybe you sit up further and you would see windows are all closed. Windows are all closed. Door looks normal. these rooms are less regal than the other ones, so less places to hide. You think for sure you're alone right now, as far as you can tell. The one thing you do notice is that the door lower on the door, almost near where the package originally was, just carved into the wood of it, is just a smile, similar to the one you carved into or you showed to the Commodore.
Jaquet shuts the box. Hasn't touched the ball at all.
Mhm.
Make sure that he has the card in hand and goes, shit, as he stumbles out of bed, doesn't put on any clothes. So I imagine, as Jaquet tends to, he's asleep in his slacks that have the suspenders down, no shoes, no socks, has like half of his jewelry on. His mustache is in a state that was waxed at one point, but is now,
Askew.
Askew, thank you. That's the word I was looking for. And he does not look his usual refined self as he bursts open the door and goes, Septimus, Bruce, as he comes down. Are you guys out in the common area?
As Septimus has a copy of the Hyven Times.
I don't know how early it is, but I would want to bring that assassin in as quickly as I could in the morning. So
yeah, I'll say
I might not be there. I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay. If you would have liked to have got out of there as soon as possible, you could have head out with the assassin early to deliver
Great.
them.
Yeah, I would have done that.
Okay, so it's just Bruce and Septimus down there.
He just puts.
Wow. This is a new sight.
He just slams the box down between the two of them. This was in my room this morning. Inside is a small thing, and there was this card. And Jaquet delicately places the card on top of the box, withdrawing both his hands as he presents it to the two of them.
Septimus opens it up and reads it. That can't be right. Obviously, it has to be some sort of prank.
It was inside the room. The door was locked. I assume the door was locked. There's a... 1 second, please.
Septimus, can you...
The door might not have been locked. Jaquet is not one for locking doors habitually. I rolled a 1. There's a good chance he did not actually lock the door. So whoever showed up, if they entered via door, went to go pick it and was like, oh boy, this guy's a fucking dumbass.
Yeah, I like to imagine that's exactly how you just said that. The door was locked. Wait, the door was not locked.
Wait, I don't know if I actually locked it.
It says, sorry, Bruce. It's addressed to Jaquet here for his birthday from Mr. Greaves. Wait, you said Mr. Greaves, right?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
Oh boy. All right, I wouldn't touch that box then.
Well, I already opened the box.
It was just a small... What sphere you said?
There's like a rock or something inside there.
Yeah, and it was some kind of small stone or sphere of some kind. I assumed you two would be able to do some magic, maybe figure out if it's mundane or magical, if it would try to kill me if I touched it. So please. So he just kind of gestures nervously to the box.
All right. Septimus, can you detect if there's magic on this rock? Before I touch it.
I don't. I can't right now, but I can detect evil and good.
Sorry,
like
neither
the morning
one of
where
you.
you're still prepping your spells, right?
Neither one of you have identified prepared.
I have identified prepared. I'll even use the spell slot for this one.
You can spend like 10 minutes to ritual cast it. I know what that's like.
He's been there.
Do I have
Speaking
to
of
touch
which, I think you do actually have to touch it.
Yeah.
If you do choose to ritual cast it, Jaquet would then look around the tavern and seeing it still in a disorderly state, and ritual cast Robespierre to help with the cleaning effort. And that would be Jaquet's assistance, is having Robespierre do it.
Of
Course. Bruce, do you cast sending on it? Or I'm sorry, not sending. That's the wrong spell. Identify on it.
If Septimus gives me the okay, then it's not evil.
All right, Septimus, you cast Detect Good and Evil. The stone is
Evil!
the stone is there's no presence of aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, or undead about this stone. There is a whiff of fiendish magic.
The only thing I'm getting from it is something from the hills.
Oh boy.
Almost like the stone has been desecrated in some way.
Someone pissed on this.
Yeah, this got devil piss on it. Oh God.
All right. Do you have any remedies for that?
Do you want? Are you trying to identify it, or am I going to do it?
Yeah, I'm trying to identify right now. I'm a little afraid to pick it up.
I'll do it.
I don't know if that's a good idea. Oh.
Just let me know when I get there, Sean.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Septimus, with detect evil and good, since you can see that desecration, Jaquet's fingertips are desecrated.
Oh no.
What?
Okay. All right. Scratch what I just said. Yeah. Don't touch it.
What do you mean?
Is he like gestures up his hand and just hold up your hand.
Shakily raises his hand.
There's some lingering magic.
And now you're getting,
Don't
and as he wipes it on his chest, you can see it desecrates wherever he touches.
Stop touching things. What else did you touch with that hand? It's spreading.
You look down and you see his crotch now. I have to scratch it.
Close the box.
Yes.
Should you cut it off? Can you make me a robotic hand? Oh, I don't feel good.
Hold still. Here. Let me put a machina. Sweet machina.
Jaquet rolls his eyes.
He's gonna cast Remove Curse on him.
Okay.
I can't wait for Sean to just be like, yeah, it really was piss.
It's just oh God. Okay, so you cast Remove Curse. You would find that this is less of a curse. And I'll say, like, Septimus, as you're casting this, there's visual cues of using these spells. You use the Remove Curse on it, and you can just find it's not latching onto it, as you would expect for, say, Fearon's Mask or the item Bruce refuses to tell you about that you detected.
That I'm seeing again, just in his pocket.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I gotta deal with
Yeah,
that.
that's true. Yeah, you are also seeing Bruce having a little evil idol in his pocket. But it's the desecration doesn't seem to be a curse necessarily. You might surmise it's more of a marker.
Mm. If I'm touching Jaquet himself and not the spot that's like afflicted, can I identify what it is so I can actually like knowingly make a better educated guess?
Let me just identify. What can identify target? So mainly just an item. So you would need now at the end of the day you have to touch the
stupid thing.
Yeah, you gotta touch the stupid
Lolly
thing.
Rock.
Well, if
Hold
you
on.
if you instead
I
touch a
got an idea.
creature
Does it say
throughout the
creature?
casting, you learn what spells, if any, are currently affecting it.
Oh, there we go. So yes, you can cast Identify and detect if there's a spell or magic affecting Jaquet in that way.
Okay.
So go ahead and do that.
Should have done that first, but I will do that now.
You ostensibly discover that Jaquet has been affected by a fiendish spell that is essentially like a dark mark upon him. Something that would attract danger in a certain way. Some might even say bad luck would affect Jaquet. I don't know what that means. You know of superstitions within the Aldhalor Islands about marks put upon people, where then calamity follows them wherever they go. People die around them. Accidents happen. This is, to a certain extent, of this element. There seems to also be a level of discoverability it also gives to the caster of it, in the sense that it's almost like a long-lasting locate person. So it's almost as if Jaquet were to be within 1,000 feet of the caster, they would get a ping that he's present.
Right. Well. Well, that's not good.
But it is magic, and it is magic. So it is the kind of thing that could be dispelled.
That's what I was gonna go for. But seeing how this,
So what is it?
I'm just gonna. Oh, I will relay all that information to. Bruce.
So if I just hold on, Jaquet, I'm gonna give you something. Bruce.
Okay.
Just don't touch his hands or here.
Yeah. Bruce reaches into a bag, takes a lollipop out.
Yeah.
Just bites it all the way through. Keeps chewing.
Gotta get all the magic.
Takes out a little rag. Spits in it.
I
Clean
like
your hands with
his
this.
magic so much better than yours. He says, gesturing to Septimus and then Bruce. Sorry, what was your command?
Wash your hands with this.
Jaquet looks to Septimus like, help me here, please.
What is this? What is it?
It'll get rid of whatever magic.
No, tell me what is this magic that you're doing right now?
I don't know. I kind of learned how.
It's a spell kerchief.
Yeah, it's a
Jaquet
magic handkerchief.
Puts his hand in and rubs the saliva-covered lollipop shards over his hand and goes, "Oh, they're sticky. Oh, they're so sticky. It's stickier than normal. Is kobold saliva sticky?"
You're never gonna get it out of that fur.
And also make sure to rub it on your jacket too, where you rubbed it.
Is it fading as he's doing that?
Well, what did you cast a spell?
Yeah,
Okay. What level did you cast it at?
I only have it at 3.
Okay, so go ahead and roll an intelligence roll.
I'm gonna do it higher.
DC is 14.
Oh.
Ooh.
Well, if I add 5 to it, it's 14.
Meets and beats.
Hey.
So yeah, that +5 you added to it was your spit. As Septimus, you would see as he is cleaning it, it is removing the mark on Jaquet.
It's really in the lollipop. I didn't actually have to do that whole extent, but I really wanted Jaquet to do that.
As you see that there's like, actually, he's bare chested. So he rubbed these across his chest, and now there's little pieces of lollipop
Just
stuck in
shards
his
of
fur.
lollipop.
And it's all like matted and gross.
Septimus with like a confused and like accepted look, just like looks to Bruce, is like, was there a better way to do that?
Probably. I just couldn't think of it in the moment.
Hey man, it's
Well-
that slick city magic, you know, not the quaint rural magic of your cleric ways.
Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Septimus
I feel
will
like it would
reach
be
out
the
with
other
his,
way.
with his back arm, and ask Jaquet for the rag.
Jaquet holds it up and conveys it to the robot arm hand.
Did you touch anything else?
I don't think so. Once I saw that,
Septimus
I-
just like looks up and sees if he sees like anything. Any wisps?
Septimus, there is a now that you're like looking around and you're not looking specifically, there's just a latent miasma hanging low in the tavern of fiendish magic.
God, you all really did sin here last night.
Yeah, there's just a presence of fiendish magic all over the place. God, grow up.
it's not even a dirty. It's just
I know. You Septimus's detect good and evil is just a black light shining all over the place.
Yeah, Oren's gonna need to burn this place down.
Funny you should mention that. I actually saw the tavern burning last night in his hand.
Whose hand? That tabaxi that you were talking about?
No. So when we went out and saw Bruce's magnificent firework display, there's a moment where everything seemed to slow, and everyone was ecstatic, dancing, but I wasn't, and I saw the tavern on fire, and then the bone ship. I don't actually know if I told you this because I think you were away, but when I died, remember when I died?
Yeah.
Anyways, when I died, I saw a vision of something, and I was greeted by a ship made of bone that was chasing me in the fires of what I assumed to be hell. One of the hells. Well, that same ship appeared, and on its mast was a figure, a skeletal figure that came down, and when he was in front of me, he appeared as a man I had met briefly on my way over here on an airship. I met the one that Sass and Fearin helped shoot down. I met a man, his name was Roland. He actually gave me these dice. Long story. Anyways, and at this, Jaquet kind of sits down and like he's like still like talking, but it kind of sounds like nonsense. It is like, and he's put his hand on me, and he told me that I didn't beseech luck too much, so that was going in my favor. But I was still, and he somehow, and he actually sounds like Saskia.
Yeah.
As he's just kind of rambling, and his hand was turned red, and it cut me. And you remember, Bruce, there was a cut on my lapel, but no one was there. And
Right.
Relax. Normally, I would say you were just hallucinating from the booze, but There definitely is some fiendish thing going on, or
Oh.
presence that's been here. During that moment when you were gone, did you make a deal?
No. Celestials above. Septimus, please. I am a smart, wise. I know how the world works. And you never make a deal with a fae. Someone should have told Saskia that. And you never make a deal with a fiend. Jaquet Touchard knows these things.
As Jaquet says that, there is a ominous draft that flows through the entire tavern as the door swings open, and it's just sort of this, just maybe coincidence of just this, as sort of this ghastly wind goes through, and all the way back is something you guys don't see. But Fearin, you're not there, but in your room. Or actually, Fearin, do you have the skin book with you, or did you have left it in your room?
I probably would have brought it with me.
Fearin, you would also, while you're like, I imagine you've got this guy in his ties, and you're bringing him along, and you also experience this wind, this sort of howling wind. And Sass, waking up by the shore, would also experience this howling wind. And then you would feel the skin book almost jostling in your bag, like it's trying to open itself up.
I'm gonna quickly I find the guy. Is he tied up? Like, where do I have him?
Oh, I imagine this is while you're heading to the Commodores to deliver him.
Right. I just, I look at him and I say, "Don't move." And like with one hand, I'm like holding his, restraints,
Ties.
and the other hand, I'm like quickly rummaging through my bag, like trying to make this happen as quickly as possible. See what the heck is going on, and I pull out the book.
Yeah, when you pull out the book, you can see it's gross. The skin on the book is almost like undulating. Almost like there's a face forming underneath it. That just sort of pushes against the book, and you just see this big grin before it fades back into the book. Almost like something's trying to get out.
I just slam it back into my bag and put a bunch of stuff on top of it because I don't have time to deal with this right now.
And you're right outside of the Commodore's office, so you can head in and deliver this guy.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna go.
Or if there's something else you were gonna do with him.
No, I was planning on taking him to the Commodores,
Okay.
But if Doyle's in the front,
He is.
As I say, like, this was the assassin from last night's party. I don't know if you've heard the news.
He looks at you as he's writing in his notepad, and he looks up. Just his eyes just look up in that through the brows. He's like, "Oh yes, I heard. Emil told me all about the party last night. Sounds like quite the splendor. This is the fellow who attempted to take the life of Jaquet Touchard?"
Yep, he says he's working for we didn't interrogate him too badly, but he gave up his employer pretty quickly. The De Leon brothers.
Yes, when we start to catch more of them, they tend to speak much quicker. Thank you. And he whistles, and those two guards kind of show up out of nowhere again and come over.
Say, Doyle, have you had any encounters with demons? I mean, besides me, but fiendish people before?
And it's like the entire time you're asking this question, the guy is like struggling in the arms of the guards, and they're just dragging him away.
I'm just like, whatever. I'm on to the next thing.
And you just hear this. It's just like as you finish your question, there's just the loud slam of the door that leads down into the dungeons as Doyle looks back up from his book as you say all this. I find tieflings to have a more abyssal heritage these days, from my senses. But fiendish, heavens no. I try to avoid encounters with fiendish magics never brings anything good. Trust me. If you're finding yourself getting involved in any fiendish things, I advise you burn it with fire, or freeze it, whatever they're susceptible to. Destroy it. There's no place for fiendish things in civilized society. Again, not referring to tieflings. I respect your heritage.
Yeah, I just say, all right, yeah, that's good advice. See you later, Doyle. But I say see you later in Infernal, and I just walk out.
And you don't see this, but he does kind of like look up, and he actually smirks at that. You actually you entertained him a little bit there. He's like, oh,
The
the world-
vampire can laugh
Yeah.
after all.
He's like, as in his head, he's like, the world is more complicated than I thought. As you can head back, Fearin, and you would be able to catch your friends moments later, but I want to cut back to them when that wind ushered through.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that the door slammed open and there's just sort of a wind that whipped through with a ghastly, very cliche. But Orin quickly runs over.
Very Evil Dead.
Yeah, exactly. Orin was This is when you realize Orin was sleeping in one of the corner booths. As he wakes up and quickly rushes and slams the door shut, as he just sort of looks around at the invisible person cleaning up his bar. Oh. Everyone all right?
We're fine, Owen. Just taking in the morning. One thing at a time. As going back to what he was doing, when Cedrus looks up, does he see a faint like did you quite touch a door and that stuff was like left anywhere?
I will say you do not see anything that is affected like inanimate objects with it.
Okay.
Even it like if you put it down, like the box doesn't have any latent magic from it. It seems to affect living creatures when they touch it.
Then on the table, Septimus, he took the rag.
Mhm.
He'll lie the rag flat on the table, pick up the box, flip it over, turn it upside down, drop it, and then lift it up so that the stone is on the rag.
Mm-hmm.
And then from two of the corners, pick up, touch, and then another two corners, pick up and touch.
Yeah.
Just kind of wrap it so it's in that.
In the little rag.
It's in the little rag.
Little rag knapsack.
Yeah. And then just tie it. And be
Okay.
like, and then put it back in the box. And it's like, keep that away.
And you would, as you're, I imagine at this point, like your detect good and evil is starting to fade, but you notice it does not affect your hands when you close it up this way.
Good. Okay.
Do you want to store that?
Do you still have that lead box that we got
Yeah.
from the chapel? Yeah, I think that would be a
That's
good
a-
place for it.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
So I take out the lead box, open it up, put this other box inside that box, and
Yep. And Septimus, as your detect good and evil completely fades, you see it disappear into the box where you can't detect it anymore.
Now, as far as this fiendish thing here. So you said you had visions.
So Jaquet will, to the best of his ability, recount exactly what happened.
Mhm.
And then ends and then the rope dropped, he grabbed it and whoosh, off he went. And I kind of came out of it, and that's when the energy, something about it was off. Did you feel that?
did I, Sean? I mean, I was happy
Yes.
and laughing. And
Yeah. Once, it's almost like the second you noticed Jaquet not laughing and dancing is when you started to feel, and then the second he snapped out of it, you would have also felt that sense of like the joy leaving you quickly.
Sean, would I have been able to tell if it's like a charming effect or like some sort of
In the moment, probably not, since everything felt
Yeah, but
just
like
like it was part of the
afterwards.
night. Afterwards, yeah, like I'd say that's a reasonable assumption. If Jaquet is describing a scene with a fiend talking to him, and he has physical evidence that the fiend actually interacted with him, and everyone was feeling their emotions being manipulated, like it wouldn't be an unheard of thing for you to develop a theory that there was a charming effect happening on the crowd. You
Yeah.
can't know for sure because you don't have any physical evidence of it to detect right now, but
Yeah.
that's not an unreasonable theory.
On this, I did feel odd after, or at least everybody outside was really joyful, and then once I noticed you, everybody kind of felt kind of lethargic. I'll say, almost as if undergoing a charming effect. But the entire time you were staring off, so everything was off, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I encountered a fiend last night in some kind of whatever, and then this morning there's a gift with fiendish energy
From Mr. Greaves.
from Mr. Greaves. I don't know if the two are connected, but regardless,
What did you say
some-
that the man that you saw was? Name?
his name was Roland. I think he had a last name.
Would any of that?
Mount Batif Roland.
Mobostiff.
Sean, would any of that like?
You're muted, Sean.
You're muted also.
Roland Mountbatten.
Mountbatten.
Would that name or any of the things he described ring any bells? For Septimus? In like
Give
demonology or devilology.
you can give me a religion check.
Yeah, it's an 8.
I mean, other than, I mean, you grew up in Aldhalor, so you do know that the bone ship that he described is usually associated with the figure Zombie, who is a figure that is seen as a farrier of the dead at sea, who comes for sinners, people who are marked for having committed terrible crimes or lack honor, or break the fundamental sort of superstitions of the sea. Somewhat of an afterlife devilish figure within Aldhalion.
What was the name?
Zombie.
Zombie.
Not zombie.
Not zombie.
Which is what I heard.
Not zombie. Zombie with an S, which is pretty damn close to zombie. But are the other things like fiends, whatnot? I mean,
There's two. There's a lot of them. It's hard to
yeah. I mean, everyone knows. I mean, everyone knows that there. Everyone from Aldhalor does grow up knowing the stories that the Aldhalor was infested with fiends at one point in its history, and that the kingdoms of Aldhalor, like the predecessors to Halcyon and the very small cohort that was the early Alfdal Islands, these nations exist because they banded together to banish the fiends that were corrupting the entire land. So there's certainly a heavy fear of fiends, and the superstitions of Aldhalor are often passed down stories from way back when the fiends were more of a presence on the continents.
Okay. Well,
Bruce, if you'd like to give me a religion check, you could also, since you have some halcyonic education.
I'll give myself a little guidance here.
Sean, can I get a religion check?
No, because you're not there right now.
I'm just saying on different thing.
Do I get
but-
advantage?
Oh, just in general for a different
W-
question, you could.
Was I in the AP class or was I like?
Bruce, I think you had your head in the clouds, so you were not in the AP class.
Yeah. All right. So in that case, I got a 9.
You were in an AP class, but you were just counting
Yeah.
how many times the teacher said
Yeah, and you scored a 2 on your AP exam, so you didn't get credit for demonology in grad school or undergrad. No. I'm sorry. What did you actually get?
I got a 9.
Okay. You have the general knowledge
Actually,
of how.
wait, I didn't do my guidance. I got a 13, Sean.
Oh, okay. I would say with your public school education from Halcyon, you know that Halcyon was built upon the ruins of an old magic society. That all the main sort of like history lesson is that this society fell to the fiends that had invested the land, and that there was some great war that happened at some point. And the entire continent was overrun with fiends and other strange aberrations, and that these things culminated in the destruction of that society that Halcyon built its cities upon the ruins of. The only living remnant or acting remnant of the society is, of course, the giant citadel tower that floats above Halcyon. That has the creepy green clouds at the top of it. That's what you know.
Okay.
So did that name, Roland Mountbatten, mean anything to you?
Oh, the name means nothing.
No, I've never heard of that before, but the ship describing the skeletal figure, it's kind of like the ferry of the damned for sailors across the after islands.
He seemed to imply that that was simply a stolen motif he took from my memories, which, if he's in my memories, maybe I fucked myself over just like Saskia did.
What
I
way?
wonder if her patron could help me out.
Hold on. Before we go asking
wait, hold
any
on.
other
I wish Shanna was here so she could walk in right now.
other beings, there's got to be something we do. We have full access to a large collection of studies in the university. I can't help but feeling that this appearance of so much fiendish magic has something to do with what we encountered the other day, that sacrifice outside of town. I mean, Fiona kept that book.
Oh,
Maybe there's something within it that could help. Just understand, maybe, if there is a connection. That's at least the first place I could think to start.
I don't know if that's a good idea, but all right.
when
Fionn,
he gets back,
you
we
walk in
can-
at that point.
I summoned him. Did you see that? I said when he gets back, and he showed up. I'm basically a mage. Oh,
Hey, Bruce. Oh, by the way, the
Yeah.
assassin's safely in jail. Bruce,
Thank
you
you.
got that lead box?
I do. Why?
I got this the book that I got from the demon people we were handling a couple days ago. It started acting a little funny, and I figure it's probably safer if we just keep it in there.
Was there a strong gust of wind?
Was there a strong gust
Yes,
of
there
wind,
was.
Sean?
There was. Yes.
Yeah, but it's also early, I
So
was
this
kinda
just
near
makes
the
a
docks.
face to the other two.
And then Jaquet catches Fionn up on everything that's happened, including the events of the previous night where he encountered Roland, the box from Mr. Greaves, and the gust of wind we experienced. So it seems like whatever we experienced here also affected you with your little trinket.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. When I was reading it earlier, it didn't have any of these effects. I mean, it did try to, reach out to me, but I nipped that in the bud.
Oh,
Wait, why did you try to read it?
When did you start? When did you
Why?
try that?
Why wouldn't I?
It's a demon book.
it's literally
Don't read a
bound in
demon book.
human flesh.
I grew up reading books like this.
Bruce, I'd say this conversation's happening while you're like putting it away in the in the lead box.
It fits. The book fits in the lead box.
The book's not that large. The book would fit in there. It's certainly getting cramped now, in there with the box in it. Like think of it like if this was a time capsule, you could fit like one more thing in there.
Hold on, what's in the lead box right now?
It's just the box with the stone.
Okay, that's
But remember, this box only had 2 sacks of coin and the cursed idol in it originally.
Yeah, little idol. That's why I was thinking.
It also had tokens.
Yes, it did have tokens
that Jaquet still has.
Yes, there were the tokens hand carved.
Just hasn't had time to
poor
distort
people who
value and
died in
sell
that.
them.
But like it's real gross to touch, Bruce. Like as you guys are talking about it, like it's almost like the skin binding is like wriggling a little bit.
Okay, maybe the books that I read growing up weren't as wriggly as this, but the
we were
content.
discussing what might be in the pages of that book. What did you read? Was there anything insightful?
I mean, I have a pretty good memory of it. It was a complex magic theory, a circle of sorts that is used to contain or bind a extraplanar entity to a different dimension, such as this one. You know, connecting a demon to the material plane so that it doesn't have any binds from its previous dimensional plane. You see, elementals and stuff like that all come from different planes, and when you use spells to banish them, they get returned. However, you know, this method would have it so they remain in the material plane, and it also might remove any sorts of obligations that they might be bound to in their original plane.
I understand. What I meant to say.
No. Who is this? That you're not Fearn. He would never say something so succinct, clear, and intelligent like that.
Well, I don't really talk about most subjects that interest me with you. You just think I'm just a smashy blunt hammer was the way you described it later last night?
Sludgehammer, yes.
Right.
All right.
Was there any names for any archdevils, archdemons, the circles of hell in particular?
No, not really. Just pretty much general magic theory.
There was more pages for you to go through, Fearn, but before you could get to them, you got the whisper in your ear.
What percentage did I get through?
You really, because if I recall correctly, you got through like a third of it. There's actually quite a bit of it left.
Okay, because I thought I rolled really well.
Did, but the thing is, you did roll really well, but then you didn't roll well in your wisdom save, or you rolled well in your wisdom save actually to not be taken over or whatever was going to happen.
But I didn't roll well.
But then you're like,
reading part.
But then you closed the book. You probably could have learned more in that evening, but it seemed too risky at the time.
So Fearn just opens the book and says, "Oh well, I could pick up where I left off," and starts reading it right now.
Wait, it's not in the box.
It's already in the lead box.
I pull it out of the red box.
Out of my hands?
Yeah, I take the lead box and I open it up and I start grabbing the book.
Teleport to the sky.
Do you actually do that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, somebody could stop me if they want to, but Fearn's not really concerned.
I imagine you pull the box back.
I'm pulling the box back and throwing it in my bag.
He pulls the box back and it disappears into the bag of holding. It makes that noise too. It goes.
That's a good noise.
It's a setting.
Yeah. Bruce is definitely the guy who never puts his phone on silent.
He's got some zany notifications.
Oh, it's my mom. That's my mom. She's calling.
I got ringtones for a reason. But the box is away in the bag of holding.
Huh.
So, any ideas on what we want to do next about all this?
That is a good question.
Have you ever considered allowing Greaves to track you? Maybe luring him
not-
into something?
No.
It's that would not be a good idea because it's not just having an idea of where Jaquet is. There's a kind of a misfortune that would be bestowed upon him, a bad omen.
Oh, right.
Knowing what we now know about Mr. Greaves, I think that we should all agree on this.
And he kind of leans in and making sure that no one's been like listening or anything, or and he's like,
Should we keep this to ourselves, plus Saskia, of course, as in not tell the Commodore about what we've learned?
For
Yes.
now, that might be best. We need to figure out how best to deal with this ourselves.
I appreciate you coming to us. I would say, why not tell the Commodore?
I don't trust her. I think I am finally taking to heart what she and just about everyone else in the city has said to us. We can't trust anyone here. Fiends, you should know, Fionn. Fiends are dangerous, conniving creatures. I could only hope to aspire to that level of cleverness. Who knows who's been charmed or beguiled? Who knows what magic is at work here? Until we have a better idea, I think I should finally listen to some advice and trust no one but ourselves.
And it's with this proposition of secrecy and distrust for others that I think we'll end there. We'll jump back in to finish this conversation next session when Sass can join us.
Oh my god, I'm gonna leave in 5 days. Oh no, I
Yeah.
forgot about that.
like someone who doesn't remember something that happened during drinking, that all comes back to you now that you got all the rest of it off your chest. So we'll end there. We'll come back where you can maybe talk a little bit about that, and Sass can join you all. And you can decide what you would like to do next in Hyven. You have several offers of discussions. You do not need to take all of them up. You can pick and choose who you want to talk to as you explore what's going on in the city more, and figure out maybe who's a little who smells like fiend. With
Oh, well, Fionn does.
yeah.
Abyssal. He smells
Takes
like
one to
abyssal.
know one.
But anyway, thank you to everyone who hung out with us tonight on Twitch, YouTube, wherever you are watching this. Have a lovely evening, or wherever you are. We're going to send a raid on over to Better Than Heroes, who I think just started their stream shortly ago.
Ooh.
All right, friends. Good session. Have a good night. Thank you for joining us in Paradise.
Until next
Hey.
time.
Hi, everyone.